Call this meeting to order. Welcome.
That's right. That's right. They'll learn
Vanessa,
someday.
please call the roll.
Chair Fleming,
Here.
Vice Chair Davis. Here. Treasurer DeVarty. Secretary Hatcher.
Here.
Trustee McKnight Morton.
Here.
Trustee Milliken.
Here.
Trustee Peck.
Here. Thank you, everyone. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Do I hear a motion to recess the monthly meeting to go into closed session to discuss collective bargaining strategy?
Move.
Support. Any discussion? None. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming,
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis.
Yes.
Secretary Hatcher.
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton.
Here. Yes.
Trustee Milliken.
Yes.
Trustee Peck.
Okay, trustees, please head to ML 120 right across the hall. Do I hear a motion to reconvene the monthly meeting?
So move. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. First is tab A, approval of the minutes. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes of the January 27th closed session as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Tab B, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes of the March 24th, 2026 monthly meeting and the March 26th, 2026 special meeting as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So move. Support.
Any discussion? Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, up next is citizen participation. Usually we have the WCCEA first. Is there a rep with WCCA? I think, okay. Then next up is public comments. I have Mr. Jeremy Haley. Are you ready? Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. Jeremy Haley, Ypsi Township. I saw you're going to talk about utilizing the whole millage that you have, and that's kind of plays into what I'm going to be talking about. First, I'd like to mention that people talk about the housing, everybody needs affordable housing. The thing I've noticed over the years, people buying more house than they actually need. And now if you look around, houses that are all being built are like 3,000 square foot, 3,500 square foot, 450,000, 500,000. And somebody with that need to buy that house, they need like at least a minimum $125,000 a year. So in order to buy that house, two people actually need to work and make $125,000 a year just to even afford the house. All the expenses to maintain the house, the taxes on the house, cars to go along with the house, food to go along with the house. And for the longest time, people have been just, oh, I got to have that big house. I live in a 1,000 square foot home. You know what my maintenance is? Half as much as anybody else has, actually 2/3 less, okay? And I'm happy with it. And people, that's what I mean, people are buying what they want and not thinking what they actually need. And I've been told in other communities, Dexter, Chelsea, and I said, why don't you guys build more $200,000 homes? I've been told, well, they bring $200,000 problems, meaning the people that live in the homes live in a $200,000 home aren't the kind of people that want to live in their community, you know? And it brings me into now Manchester, $400,000 project. They call it a transformational brownfield. It's not a brownfield, it's a farmer's field. And it's the TIF, why you guys are raising your millage. I saw Trustee DeVarty at one of the last commissioner meeting, and the same thing, they're using these transformational brownfields, the TIFs, tax increment funding, to make a $400,000 house affordable for people, when it's essentially giving it to the developer in Manchester so he can put in the infrastructure. The One Arbor South project, they're asking for a $300 million TIF, okay? That's cutting in y'all's budget. And as trustees, you all should be more vocal about how it's affecting the college. It's nice that you're doing the millage, but you all, and the president, you need to be more vocal about this. Because there's already more than a handful of these projects going on in the county, and they all are killing your guys' budget. And at one point, what are you going to do when nothing else is coming in, because everything is being zapped and given to the developers, which they're using it to leverage for their projects? We all know it, and it's cruel. Okay, so I'm just asking as trustees, be more vocal about what's going on and how it's affecting the college, please. Thank you.
All right. Vanessa, were there any written communications? All right, thank you. Okay, first up, special reports. Our mission moment with VP Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm excited tonight to bring to you our mission moment for April, which is we're recognizing Phi Theta Kappa tonight. We have with us tonight Donovan Daniel, who is the president of Phi Theta Kappa, our incoming vice president, Spencer Gusley, got it right. And then our advisor for Phi Theta Kappa is Christy Mann, our student, works in student advising, student activities, I'm sorry. So today, we're here to recognize the incredible work that Phi Theta Kappa. Nope, sorry. Technical, this is great. He's gonna give me a clicker. Okay, thank you so much. So now I can say next slide. It's gonna be great. All right, next slide. All right, keep going. All right, there we go. So the Beta Gamma Alpha chapter was established in 1995 here at WCC. And over those 30 years, over 8,900 students have been inducted into the Honor Society. This reflects a long-standing tradition of academic excellence, leadership, and service at Washtenaw Community College. From tutoring in the Academic Success Center to supporting students in the Writing Center, Phi Theta Kappa members excel in the classroom while also demonstrating a deep commitment to serving others. As Muhammad Ali once said, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. And I believe our PTK students truly embody this philosophy. I want to highlight a few initiatives that the Phi Theta Kappa has done this academic year. And first up is our Capital Day. So our Phi Theta Kappa students went along with Alpha to the MCCAA's Capital Day. And they had an opportunity to see how the government works. They were in the gallery doing the morning session, had an opportunity to meet with our local legislator at lunch. And again, got an opportunity to see how government works for the residents. The second area I'd like to note is that our PTK organization established a book drive, a book giveaway. And that came about from a conversation that I had with Dr. Belanca and in regards to the third grade reading levels here in Washtenaw County. She asked, like, what could we do? What could WCC do? I reached out to Phi Theta Kappa, and they were like, at first, like, this is a big ask, Mr. Jennings. But then they said, no problem, we got this. So under the leadership of the president, Donovan, Phi Theta Kappa turned our ideal into meaningful action. They recognize that early literacy leads to lifelong success. So in the top right corner, you can see as they go through a bin of boxes, they had books for K3, 3-4, and for grades 4-5. In less than 3 months, the Phi Theta Kappa members collected over 500 books for children K through 4, far exceeding their goal. In addition, I am excited to talk about their Reading with Alpha that we did on Free College Day. At Free College Day, they distributed the books that they had collected to students and families, to children and their families. Also, as they read stories, you can see a couple of the Phi Theta Kappa members reading stories to students, future WCC students. And because of their incredible success, PTK is donating all the remaining books to the Park Ridge Center. providing free books to the children this summer in their summer program and also at the Park Ridge Festival, extending their impact even further in our community. This was more than a project for PTK. It is a powerful example of student leadership, community engagement, and mission in action. PTK is not only developing scholars, they are developing leaders who serve, inspire, and strengthen our community. And that is why tonight I am proud to recognize Phi Theta Kappa as our mission moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I don't have anything prepared, but thank you. So I'm Donovan Daniels. I'm the president of Phi Theta Kappa, and I just wanted to say how amazing it's been to work on these projects, especially with children's literacy. It has been very fulfilling to me. My mom grew up homeschooling me and everything, and we were a super literate household, and my parents always had such a huge emphasis on reading and writing, and yeah, it was just so amazing to give back to my community and stuff, and we're working on getting a little free library, so, and that will hopefully, you take a book, you leave a book, so hopefully that'll be self-sustaining for a while. And yeah, I'm really excited to work on next semester's project going into the fall, so thank you guys for all of your support, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just real quick before your next person comes up. I remember walking through the student center, this may have been pre-COVID. There were scores of books out. And there were books, there were like, somebody brought tons of albums. There were many different things out there, so I don't know, do you know where that would have come from? I mean, like the library or?
Yes, one of you knows that answer. Michelle, it's from a women's group, right? Isn't it a group that uses our facility for the books? Yeah, it was ML. It was ML, not Student Center. Yes. Probably ML, out here.
No, it was in the student center.
It was?
Yeah, I walked
no.
in from the front entrance of the campus, and I don't remember what I was going into that particular entrance for, but it was there. There were tables of them. And matter of fact, I picked up quite a few on my way around, so. Okay. The Book Fairy, that's who it was.
Book Fairy? Book Fairy? Did you say Book Fairy?
Yeah.
That was probably it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really do appreciate all your work. And that was a long day, and it was a project that you spent a lot of time with. So thank you. Because you made an impact on children, and that's really important. It's a great legacy. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, up next is the strategic plan goals and accomplishments. Executive Director Morrison.
We are very happy to be here tonight to update the board on our strategic goals. What we'll be giving you tonight are highlights of accomplishments from 2023 through 2026. And this is our 3-year cycle of strategic planning coming to a conclusion. And we're looking for possibly continuation, but we're here to give you updates on the work that's been done over the last 3 years and give you some information also on what might be next. But first of all, why strategic planning? So we know these things intuitively, but it's really important to keep these in mind when we talk about these things because there are really important reasons why we do what we do with strategic planning. Why we do it, we identify goals and initiatives that align with the mission and promote the college's current and future success. We use it to support our infrastructure for decision-making and also for operational planning. It's an expected best practice. You know, our creditors require it. It's expected by our partners that we are doing sound strategic planning so that we can be effective for them. It also supports addressing internal and external opportunities and challenges. And the challenges are frequently many, and these are just a few examples, shifting enrollments and demographics, looking at our legislative impacts and being able to address some of those, changing employer and job market demands, change across higher education, which can mean a lot of things, including technology, instructional delivery, and innovations, and also the changing needs of our students, our community, our business, and our industry partners. And that is just a few examples. We do our strategic planning on a 3-year cycle. It started back in 2012 when we had our first 3-year cycle of strategic planning, and you've heard this before, but it also helps us to remind us what a history we actually do have with planning. We also, we've had, I believe, 4 cycles that were 3 years long, including one that launched right around COVID, as you might recall. And the cycle that we're talking about tonight is the one that followed that, which made it a somewhat different animal from the ones before, because we were really trying to address all of the many changes that were a result of that. For all of these cycles, we have relied on 8 foundations that have really helped us be successful. And there are priorities that we keep for the college, and these 8 strategic pillars that you see here really form the backbone for everything we do with strategic planning. And if something doesn't fit within those 8 strategic pillars, it's probably something we wouldn't do. And it really supports our work and helps us, keep track of what we're doing and why. And those pillars are professional development and organizational health, student success and satisfaction, innovation, agility, and responsiveness, visibility and branding, workforce development, partnerships of all kinds, funding and resources, and community engagement and development. Our other foundation for success is obviously our mission, vision, and values. And it's easy to say what anything that we would do would have to be aligned with our mission, and that is true, but this is something that we really keep in front of us when we are doing strategic planning. And again, much like with the pillars, if we were looking at a possible initiative and it didn't support our mission, vision, and values, we would not do it. So it's really important to keep that in mind, that this is always back of mind, front of mind as we're doing planning. Oops. Helps to go the right way. And you're familiar with these graphics. We do one of these graphics every time we have a new cycle, and this is the graphic for the 2023-2026 strategic plan, which was shaping our collective future in transformational times. This was a little bit different from ones in the past in that we didn't have 8 different strategic plan initiatives that aligned with those 8 priority pillars that we talked about. This was as following COVID and trying to put in place the best planning that we could as we were dealing with a changing environment, focused on 4 key areas, and which we'll be talking about tonight. And those were online learning, student success, data analytics, and also the campus master plan. And you can see these 4 key areas embedded within this graphic. And so tonight's presentation will be about shaping our collective future in transformative times, and will address those 4 areas that I just said. We'll be starting with student success initiatives with VP Jennings. And then we will talk about data analytics and the use of data in decision-making with Provost Blakey. And then EVPI Tucker will talk about our goal about best-in-class online campus experiences. And then we will talk a little bit about the campus master plan. So with that, I will turn it over to Vice President Jennings.
Thank you, Julie.
Good evening. So tonight I will recap what has happened over the last 3 years as part of our student success initiatives. Just as a reminder, over the last 3 years, we've looked at academic advising, mental health and wellness, early alerts and proactive student support, and how as a college we're addressing basic needs to support student success. So under our D3C3 grant and the Detroit Drives Degrees Community College Collaborative, we received a grant that looked at our academic advising. That allowed us to work with Georgia State, their National Institute for Student Success, the NIST. And what we were able to do with them was we received an independent specific evaluation on what WCC is doing around advising. And the goal was to help improve student outcomes and reduce those equity gaps between male, female, different demographics, African Americans, white students, Hispanic students. And as part of that, we received what they called a diagnostic and a playbook. And we received that. We used that to make systematic changes to advising. And I'll talk a lot about advising tonight because that was one of the areas in which we made significant changes, and it's been very beneficial for students. So the biggest part of our work with NIST was the introduction of the standard of care. And this is I'm gonna show you an eye chart. Don't worry, it's a lot of information, but I'll talk a little bit about it. So with NIST, they took us through about 6 months of work and to look at a student experience in advising. What is the student when they come to advising? What are they getting when they come? Is it consistent? Are the students leaving with questions that are not being answered? So over those 6 months, we were able to develop a few things related to what was needed. In the far right, you'll see where it says a standard of care facet choice number 1. We focused on training, and I'll talk a little bit more about training here shortly. But we recognized that we needed to provide more training for our academic advisors. A lot of guided pathways, a lot of different changes were coming through, and we felt that this was an area where we needed to focus on. For students, we looked at how we are using degree works, so students are able to look at a plan, so they can come in, they'll see that what classes they need to take, the sequence of classes, so that the students stay on track to graduate with their certificate or degree. And if you look at the bottom left corner, it says standard of care facet choice number 2. We chose to focus on our FIDIAC students, our full-time degree-seeking students. And as you remember, or as you recall, that is the number that the government uses as far as our graduation rates. So it's a group of students who are full-time. We chose to work with them because we felt like we had an opportunity. They are required to see advisors. And I'll talk a little bit more about what happened in that as well. So we use this as our guide for the last couple years on what we're doing for students and what we're also doing for our professional development for our staff and our academic advisors. We implemented a guided advising structure aligned with TargetX. So TargetX allows our students, our faculty, staff to see the life cycle of a student, what information a student has been given, helps advisors who saw a student last week and they may see a different advisor this week. They can see exactly what they talked about in that last advising appointment. We develop a minimum of 2 semester Degree Works academic plans for all of our FIDIAC students. So when they come in, they are seeing what they're going to take in fall and also seeing what they're going to take in winter, giving them a 1-year, 2-semester plan for those students. We expanded our advising appointment with campaigns. So we're actually doing more outreach to students, not just expecting them to show up at advising, but we're sending emails, text messaging about it's time to see your advisor, it's time to talk about classes. That was expanded doing our work with NIST. In addition, we standardized our onboarding through what we're calling now, it's called the Smart Start. But essentially, all of our new incoming FIDIAC students are able to come through for advising, orientation, and registering all in one day. So they can come here, spend a day with us, and they'll leave, register for their classes for either fall or winter as well. In 2024 is when we really started using this. We have 351 students make it through. For this year, we're expecting over 500 students to go through this process. And again, students are able to come through, get all the way through our process, and get enrolled in one day. One of the things that has really been helpful is we strengthen our advisors, our student advisors, and those faculty in the classroom, those partnerships across the divisions and departments. This has been helpful, especially in health sciences, where the students are meeting with their student advisor, also meeting with their faculty advisor so that they're on the same page about student success. We also transitioned to a more student-focused advising scheduling platform. We just did this in February. It's much more user-friendly for students. Students can actually either do a virtual appointment or in-person appointment, schedule it right through their phone, right through an app. Makes it easy for students to get in touch with their advisor. I talked about training, and I will say to Grace Fama, who is the director of our student advising and our advisors, a lot of training went in. So we implemented a weekly training. We use that to dedicate time for continuous improvement, continuous learning, and professional development. So every Friday from 8 to 10, there's training, dedicated time for advisors, and they've been very supportive of that because they were like, this is what we need. We also, as part of the training, how do we look at our standard of care? It's not just a one-time work with this is all we're going to do. We're looking at how we're going to continue to improve our model. Doing this, they also have updates from admissions, any changes in financial aid, counseling services, and disability, so that they're aware of any new things that we're doing in those other departments so they can help students. Professional development. So we are looking at data-informed advising. We want to make sure students understand that advising is a part of the learning. They're learning how to be a student through our advising process. So we've used data in the last couple of years to help that. We also want to make sure that students are engaged in their advising, so they're just not sitting there hearing from advisors. So we're helping students. We do this by we implemented a student intake form. So before a student shows up for advising, we know more about the student. So that's helping engage in this space. And one of the areas that we focused on is crisis response. You'll hear later on, we'll talk a little bit about mental health, but making sure that our advisors are aware of how to deal with students who may be going through a crisis as they're seeing them in an advising appointment. And then process improvement, we're strengthening our ability to work with students. So this continues every single week, we're doing this. And finally, we actually closed, and Provost Blakely was like, we're going to close for 2 days? Like, yes, we're closed for 2 days. We closed advising for 2 days. That our full advising got 16 hours of training from Gallup. Gallup came to campus, provided strengths-based training for our advisors, and they have really enjoyed that because they are looking at how they're able to use that to effectively work with our students. We updated our advisor training with the help of the advisors. They said, hey, this is what we need. And finally, we restructured our new advisor onboarding in Canvas. So now there's a Canvas shell that our new advisors go through the training. So we're using the same platform that our faculty are using as well. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
How many advisors are there?
So right now we have a total of 15 advisors. across all of the different divisions.
Are they assigned to divisions?
So they are assigned to divisions, and then some are actually assigned to individual departments as well. And if, just as a reminder, prior to COVID, everybody had drop-in advising, so you didn't have an assigned advisor. So that our new model is students are assigned an advisor upon entry into the college.
Go ahead, Angela.
So I guess, well, I have a couple of things. So then with that, then I guess that is to help keep track, if you will, of the students so that with the message alerts that goes out to see your advisor, is that done so many times in a semester, a month? How frequent does that go out?
So the cadence really depends on the needs of the student. So if we have a student who's on academic warning or caution, they're having much more interaction with our advisors than a student who is 4.0 student who has their plan. They'll get weekly alerts.
So it's tailored.
Yes, tailored to them. So that, again, you're getting it from your academic advisor. So it's not just coming from advising, but it's coming from Clarence Jennings. The student knows that I'm their advisor, so they're they're building relationships. So we moved from transactional, come see advising, to come see your advisor. So it's much more relationship based now.
And the training for the advisors, is this an ongoing?
Ongoing, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so-
So every Friday, so again, every Friday
Oh,
from
every
8 to 10, we built in space for not just our advisor, but all the student services for training for them.
Oh, good.
All righty.
It's really been good. Can I just make a comment, Madam Chair?
Yeah.
One of the initiatives that there's been a huge transformation with advising here on campus. Really, they did a great job, all of them, the advisors, Clarence, Linda, to be more personal and more intentional with the students. So, and the data shows us some good results. And, go ahead. I'm talking to you. I'm really excited when we talk about early alerts, because do you remember, you all remember, board members, how it was really, and, Alex was on the board, and we talked about early alerts, and I think it was when Rick Landau was on the board. And we talked about the importance of early alerts, and I can't wait till he tells you about this.
So if there are 15 advisors, if I'm an advisor, about how many students am I advising? I mean, we get new students all the time, and I've got continuing students I'm working with, so on average, how many students am I sort of, quote-unquote, responsible for?
So the caseloads are around 500 students. Again, students come
Okay.
off as they graduate, transfer. So we've been maintaining around 500 students.
Per advisor?
And again, it's tailored. So
Yeah.
students who need more support get that support. So again. Yep. So Dr. Blanca, we're talking about early alerts.
Drum roll.
All righty. So again, our early alerts, they're proactive. They are designed for us to get in front of students before there's no return. So it's for students, again, showing signs of some concern to connect them with timely, coordinated student-centered support. And our different types of alerts, we have our academic alerts for low grades, poor performance on a test, or even lack of participation. And non-academic, students are facing financial challenges. They have a lack of childcare, transportation, or other personal barriers. We are excited, I am excited, to definitely talk to you about what we did to enhance our early alerts and our response to students. So when we look at what we've done over the last few years, we've transitioned from a Banner to TargetX for our centralized case management. Prior to that, we used Banner, and it was really limited in letters that we can send to students. You couldn't personalize the early alerts. We've expanded our ability to track and report in real time. So we get early alerts today. If an early alert comes in at 5 o'clock this afternoon, we're able to reach out to students pretty much during business hours. So usually there's a delay the next day, but we're able to, if it comes at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're responding same day. We've enhanced the faculty and student experience because the first thing faculty said that our old early alerts was not functional. They didn't like it. It was you need to withdraw from our class because you're failing, and it wasn't friendly. And faculty told us this, so we were able to change that to make it more friendly. Where reach out to your tutor, reach out to your success coach. So it made it more friendly and I'll show you how much more friendly it has because more people are using it. And then we also were able to work cross-functionally with our advisors, our faculty, and student support so that when faculty are saying, I have a student I'm concerned about, need a student alert, put an early alert, we're able to wrap our arms around how we do that as well. So the results. So all faculty are able to utilize, part-time, full-time faculty are able to utilize our early alert system. We trained during both the fall in service and the winter in service on the new early alerts was available. 90% of the students who receive a flag, we are able to outreach to them within 48 hours. And 48 hours is because sometimes they come in on a Friday and we're not here on the weekend, so we were addressing it on Monday morning. So it increased about a little under 5%. So utilization as far as our outreach to students has increased. But I'm excited about the number of early alerts that we're receiving. In the entire academic year of 2024, we had about 1,800 early alerts. In fall of 2025 alone, we had over 1,900 alerts from our faculty. I see them often, and they are excited about the fact that we were able to get students back into the classroom because student was missing. They were missing class because they didn't have childcare. We were able to get them into our childcare grants, scholarships for that. We've also been able to improve our consistency in documenting and our follow-up actions. So the new early alert system is in Target X. So our advisors could see that the student received an early alert. Our student success team is able to see what happened in those early alerts. So we're able to follow up with those students much more effectively. Any questions? All righty. I forgot about the impact. So we, again, identifying students earlier who are at risk and need additional support. Our coordination of interventions are definitely across departments. We've increased our student engagement with advising financial aid and support services through early alerts. So again, getting in front of the student before they are at a point where they're just giving up, dropping out, or stopping out. And then we've reduced our gaps in communication and improved our continuity of care. Next, I'll talk about mental health and our wellness. So it's not something new, but mental health in higher education since the pandemic has been a significant increase. Many students are juggling academic pressures, work, family, responsibilities, and financial stress, leading to common challenges including anxiety, depression, stress, and burnout. Why are we focused on mental health over these last few years? Well, mental health directly impacts student retention, persistence, and academic success. Students who receive support are more likely to stay enrolled and complete. Our response to the increase in mental health needs, we utilized the grant from our, again, DC3C to partner with our JED Foundation. It is the leader in mental health and suicide prevention in higher education. With that, that grant allowed us to do a Healthy Mind survey that's compiled by the University of Michigan. The JED campus used that information along with the institutional assessment. We went through a 350 question assessment of how we as administrators and staff, how do students utilize our current resources. And then they gave us a data-informed, a custom WCC plan on using what students said that they need, what we are offering, and put that together for us as a comprehensive plan for us to use. In addition, over this last year, we restructured our staffing model from two full-time counselors and 2 advisors/counselors to 4 dedicated full-time counselors, enhanced our ability to support student mental health and wellness here at the campus. We focused on early intervention and making sure students are aware of the resources that we have available here at WCC. Key outcomes, we've seen a 31% increase in the utilization of counseling and referrals. We've delivered targeted workshops for adult learners, including how to deal with grief and self-care while being a caregiver. This is probably one of the most attended workshops that we had because we have many students who are, they're juggling young children, but we have many students juggling how to be a caregiver for their adult parent as well. We've expanded our wellness fair. We used to just offer one wellness fair in the fall. Now we do fall and winter. And over the last academic year, over 700 students were served doing our wellness fair. And because mental health is something that we want people to know about, our faculty and staff, we've had ongoing training with our advisors, success coaches, and our front desk staff on how to deal with a student in crisis. So I'm very excited that for students in crisis and is at the Student Center and comes to one of our Welcome Center, our financial aid, that we were able to address that need right there with the student. And our care team, we receive concerns through many different ways from faculty, from staff members, from other students. Our baseline, we use at 2021, about 179 cases came through. Last year, we were at 415, and as of 415 this year, we're at 376 students. So we still have a few weeks of this semester left and then all of summer. So we do expect to be over the 415 that we had for last year. They represent about a 30% increase year over year and 126% increase since our baseline of 2021. Oh, yes.
Did we get Ruth?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ruth.
I noticed in the personnel recommendations that there's a licensed mental health professional. Is that one of the two counselors, or is that a third person?
That is our fourth counselor.
The fourth.
She's replacing a counselor that left. So we have four
Four
full-time counselors.
counselors, and, which is excellent. I'm glad to see that. I have another question about the previous thing about the 1,400 students who got early alerts. Do we track them and see if that early alert actually helped them succeed?
We do, and I don't have that information.
But you do that?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
And we, at the end of this semester, we will be able to look at persistence across both semesters and retention and graduation transfer. So I'll be able to provide that information at the
But
next
also,
meeting.
but those particular early alert, people who had early alerts, to see how effective those are.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Great, thanks.
And finally, we looked at financial resources. And this is in basically two parts. So I'm going to talk about financial aid here first. So between the fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 25, we had a 12.7% increase in the numbers of students who received financial aid. That represented $5.86 million additional dollars that students received during that time period. Well, to keep that aid, students have to go through what is called a satisfactory academic progress. How can I forget that? I do that every day. So to do this, there's three conditions that students must maintain. One, they must maintain at least a 2.0 GPA. Second, they must complete at least 67% of the classes that they have attempted. And finally, there's a time limit. Students must finish their program, if it's an associate degree, within 90 credits. Every single semester, students must go through our SAP process. So financial aid will run at the end of the semester. Once grades are posted on Wednesday, on Thursday morning, every single student will go through this process to see, do you have a 2.0 GPA or higher? Have you completed 67% of your classes this semester? And are you within this 90 credit, if you're an associate degree, 90 credits of your program completion? If a student doesn't do that, this is why SAP matters, not meeting those standards can lead to a loss of financial aid. A loss of financial aid is the leading predictor of student dropout here, not just at WCC, but across the United States. It also helps students stay enrolled and stay on track. So if they are meeting SAP, they can stay enrolled using federal and state dollars to continue to move forward towards graduation. And what we've done to support students staying in classes, being eligible for financial aid is we've introduced SAP workshops and other support initiatives so that students recognize that if you do not meet your SAP requirements, there's a way that you can get your financial aid back, and that's going through an appeal process. So we've done more workshops to help students know about this. With that, we've increased students meeting that requirement by 5%, and we increased the numbers of students who are applying for appeal by 11%. And again, that's important because if they're able to go through the appeals process, they're able to maintain and get their aid back so they can actually continue to stay in school. Any questions on that? Yes, sir.
So that 5.86 million, is that grants or does it include loan money?
That is, it includes grants, it includes loans, and it also includes money from the state of Michigan as well for the Reconnect and the other scholarships that they provide.
Grants. Primarily. Right. Okay. Thank you.
And then finally, we also looked at the financial resources that students need around basic needs support. So students are facing increasing barriers related to food, housing, and financial insecurity. Basic need gaps are the key driver of stress. The one thing that I hear all the time from students is, the ones who are going through our basic needs and for support, it's hard to think about school when I don't know where I'm going to live tonight, or where I'm going to get my next meal, or I don't know how I'm going to get to school. So in addressing those, again, our mission is education, but if we don't address some of these needs, students are not going to stay in school. So our first big thing that we've done this year is food access. So in front of you, I've brought our table tents. We did a lot more marketing to students about what's available through childcare, bus passes, and also our food cupboard. We've expanded our food pantry. If you don't recall, our food pantry was located in a small area. We actually picked the food for students and put it in the bag for them. I'll talk about what we've done to make that change, but this is our we repurposed the former International Student Center, and it's now our new food pantry for students. And we have a much greater selection of food for those who have dietary needs, gluten-free, things that we were not able to provide prior. So we're providing that. We saw a 233% increase in the utilization of food services here on campus. Talked a little about, we expanded our food pantry. So we went from a small place to a bigger space, about 130% bigger. And it's meeting our needs currently today. We're excited about it. We implemented a student choice model. So now students are able to come in and shop. When I say shop, they can pick from the items that they have. We're not just providing a bag for them. So it provides them a different experience, a much more student-centered experience. We were able to use our funding that we got. We got a grant from the state of Michigan, a barrier removal grant for $212,000. And right before this meeting, I got a quick note. We were able to give through this grant over $45,000 in gift cards that allowed them to get perishable items. So everything that's in our food pantry is non-perishable. So they're able to get meat and milk and those kind of things. So this grant has helped us provide those to students as well. Emergency financial support. So I will say, thanking Nikki Borges and the foundation for collaborating with us. We have seen a tremendous growth in the student emergency fund. I think it's now called the Student Impact Fund. In 23-24, about $26,000, almost $27,000 in emergency funding was given. That went to about $74,000 in 24-25. And for this year, we're at over $125,000 as of yesterday, 462% increase in student assistance. And this goes for electricity, utility bills, water bills, rent for individuals, car repairs. So again, this money is being used to support students to meet those non-academic needs to help them stay in school. As part of our restructuring, we also put together our Student Resource Center, our counseling and student coaching in one area. And now that's called the Student Success Services area. But those are all referral-based services. So now, instead of being siloed, if a student is having a food insecurity concern, our student coaches are reaching out and making sure those students are utilizing those services, and also if there are any other services that they may need, are utilizing those as well. And then finally, again, this is all about being proactive in our outreach to students, identifying their needs earlier so that we can get in front of those, helping them with their basic needs, and helping those students who require more and then additional support. Oops, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bring your mic down.
The financial assistance, or the assistance you got from the state of Michigan, is that ongoing or just one time?
It was a one-year grant, a two-year grant, and we've been able to utilize that. We are always looking for additional support from different grants to support this, and we believe we're going to continue to get those grants. But we also, as far as the child care, the board, and you've been so supportive. We've been able to give child care scholarships, almost $200,000 over the last few years to students, and that was a significant barrier. So we've been able to, again, with your support, continue to provide those services here at the college through the college's funding as well.
Another question, do you know approximately of these, how many participants of this, or you wouldn't know that?
So of which?
Of the students utilizing this pantry?
So the food pantry, we went from 73 students using it in 2023-24 to we've had over 380 students this year. And part of that, if you could recall, there was a government shutdown in October. SNAP benefits were cut for about a month. We outreached to the students, and we've been supporting more and more students from that because they were able to utilize our services. They told other students about our services. But with that, with our case managers, we are a bridge. So we're not providing, a month long of food. So they're able to work with the students to get connected with state and federal funding so that the students have additional resources available for them. Again, we are bridging the gap. We are not providing full services for students. Thank you.
I do have a question. Do you have more to say?
I do
I'll
not.
wait till the end.
I do not.
Oh,
That
this
was-
is it?
That was it. That was
Okay,
all.
so, for the emergency assistance that comes in the form of that 2-year grant you said, right? And then donations
Funding from the community,
from the
WCC Foundation.
From the foundation, and then the community at large, they also donate to the emergency assistance too?
They are donating funds as community members for the United Way. They donate funds to our WCC
Okay,
Foundation.
and then, so then the food, the non-perishable food items, do you all go out and get it?
We are now,
Grocery
delivery
shoppers now?
delivery is great. So now they're actually coming to, we put our order in and they show up on campus, and we're able to provide a consistent selection for our students. Because, we still take donations, but now it's, we're consistently having the same things over and over again, and students are definitely appreciating that. Because from month prior, it was, you didn't know what we were going to have from month to month. And we've also, again, thanking the foundation, to the far left corner in that left third, those are personal need items. So there's women's hygiene products, there's soap, there's diapers you can't see, there's diapers. So we're not just, trying to get those non-perishable, but those, just the end of the month, students need
Yes.
just a little help, and we're able to get them to that place, and they're able to stay in school. So, and I am excited, hopefully next month to share about what we've done over the academic year on what it looks like for the full academic year for retention and completion.
So I'm going somewhere with this. So say I would want to go out into the community and help raise donations. How would I know what is most needed? Personal items, of course, we already know that. But anything else? Meaning, you're doing this all, you have this ongoing delivery of the same items. At some point, you would know what is not offered, not asked for, so those drop off, and you get all the ones that are being picked up and taken home on a regular basis. So you have, your running list of these are the most popular items that I'm gonna get. But outside of that, do you have a list that you need, but you're not getting enough of? Like,
At this point, we're meeting.
you're meeting your
every
needs
need that comes in.
across what I see here?
Yes, yes.
That's a nice idea.
That's today.
I know.
So.
This has been going on for a while. I mean, a great expansion of what we see here. And I'm just, kind of thinking outside the box here of how to, increase the availability of these supplies.
Sure. Thank you.
What kind of a relation do we have with the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation?
Well, we have scholarships through our WCC foundation that they support students through they fund student scholarships. So in that way, they're able to offset the cost for many of our students who are receiving their scholarships.
That's not the community foundation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have
Oh, we have
endowed scholarships here.
Okay.
Good to know, thank you.
So housing needs, which I don't see here. There was a housing presentation right here at the Morris Lawrence Building a few months ago. And there's an agency that pairs a lot of older citizens who have housing available they may be by themselves and they have a couple bedrooms, extra bedrooms. And I remember, I think you were there, have we been able to refer students in need of housing to those sorts of partnership, to that agency, which facilitates those partnerships where somebody who needs housing and can be in a home where a senior citizen may be benefited by having somebody in the home staying there at the same time the student who is in need of housing has an opportunity for housing at either a low cost or no cost opportunity. So I'm wondering if we've engaged in that partnership.
I'm not sure we engaged in that partnership, but we're working with Avalon Housing and there's another one I can't think offhand. But many of our students who are needing housing, it's for them and their children. Unfortunately, that's the biggest driver right now of housing insecurity is a parent with minor children. But I will follow up on this.
Okay. I think it may have been formerly the Senior Bureau for Housing, or one of those agencies which has changed their name and their mission a little bit.
Thank you.
Housing Bureau for Seniors is what it formerly was.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
A statement. Angela and I saw a presentation last Thursday at Michigan Theater regarding Road Home, that's the name of it, on homelessness in Washtenaw County. It's an excellent film, and I think if you're able to see this, it's really very informational, and it's, they're talking to all housing units in the county, in Washtenaw County, that are available for, to help assist, single and families. However, there's a big however, they're all filled to capacity. That's the issue. And so they're at a point now where people are coming from out of Washtenaw County. And it's really getting to a situation where they're grappling of how to deal with this influx of people. Even the homeless shelters are filled to capacity. So, this is a real big issue here in the county.
Thank you.
While they're changing seats, may I say a few words? First of all, this is what we're about, okay?
Can you use the microphone?
This is what we're about. We talk, our meetings are about finance and about purchasing things, but we know that we are all doing it for that kind of outcome. So that's one thing, and thank you, because that's what we love to do. That's why we're all in this, right? And secondly, I want to thank the board for supporting the technology. That technology that we have put in place helped us with those early alerts, helps us coordinate those personal messages. I mean, all that really helped to get us to this point. So thank you. I want you to all feel good about yourselves because, it's something we wanted and we worked toward it and it's here. So thank
That's
you.
what I wanted to bring up was,
Need a mic, please.
that's what I wanted to bring up. Forgive me. Is now I understand, not that I wasn't sure what Banner did, I just wasn't sure why Target X was so needed. And now I understand because of the capabilities that this particular platform has, and in which it can simplify this process of tracking all the students in real time, shooting out, as you say, early alerts based on whatever the data is that's coming in from the teachers' inputs and what the students are once they walk through that door and sit in the chair. So now I see. My question was to Clarence and to you now that we're talking, is this is the first report, is that correct, that we're getting from getting back from what Target X is done for us, or this is a first comprehensive report
I
of
guess-
what they've done?
Yeah, this isn't the first report.
I didn't
but
think
it's
so, but-
It's the best report. I mean, it's through the year, how we've improved our processes, continuous improvement, and where we're at, and how we've used data
Yeah,
to make decisions.
it just seems
Yeah,
more,
we're
it
getting
just
there.
seems more in depth now.
It is.
That's why I'm like, is this the first one? Because I didn't think it was. It just seems more inclusive of all the things that we were talking about, and now it's compiled in a simple format. You could, listening to him present it to us, now I see the need that we had at that time and how far we've come along. And I do appreciate that a lot. So, yeah, money well spent on that.
Thank you. Yeah. We appreciate you because the board understands. And you might remember that report that 2 years ago, we didn't have good numbers. I mean, you're like, what? That's it? Can't you get more? I mean, remember? So I'm very proud that we all work together to get to where we're at, and we'll be better next year. And so that's, okay, I'm done. Thank you.
So then, the next area we're covering is data analytics. And so I'm going to be providing a 3-year summary of the activities that we've been doing with analytics and institutional research. So certainly in 2023, we expanded the analytics and institutional research team. That's when we brought on Dr. Shane Redmond and his analyst. The core functions of this group are institutional reporting, ad hoc data requests, surveys, data analysis, dashboards, and supporting our campus initiatives. So, you know, when we're talking about a lot of the numbers that you're having in these reports, a lot of that is coming out of institutional research. We've seen a trend in our ad hoc data request. You can see over the last 3 years, we've had approximately about 120 requests. We'll probably get close to that number again in 25, 26. These requests can cover anything from retention persistence to particular programs, success rates, enrollment metrics. Sometimes if programs are going through accreditation processes, they'll be asking for specific data, and that's all provided by this team. We've had a shift toward, we're doing now continuous feedback loops. So we've increased our survey activity. We had a student pulse and online learning as we transitioned from Blackboard to Canvas. We did pulse surveys. We did AI usage surveys as kind of a baseline. So before we kind of started talking about AI on campus, we did AI usage by both faculty and students. We do a graduate follow-up. We do non-returner surveys, so students who are enrolled one academic year and don't come back the following fall, we do a returner survey to find out kind of why they didn't come back. And we also participated this year in the community college survey of student engagement. And so again, that was an overall survey on how students perceived our classes, perceived our services. And again, all that data that when we got it back was shared with EVP Tucker and the deans and on their student services area as well. We now have, I think our data is, our reporting is going through an evolution. We have more frequent and structured reporting cycles. We've expanded our reporting capabilities. We've looked at attrition tracking, kind of looking across all of our parts of term and all of our different classes, when our students kind of, what part of the term are they leaving, so we can better address those needs of those students and figure out, you know, how can we get them past that point where they're dropping out of classes. We've done predictive enrollment modeling with the financial services area. We do federal and accreditation reporting, and we also have done a lot of data for program review, which we'll talk about in a second. We also have done predictive and strategic analytics. We're providing support for long-term planning and resource allocation. We've looked at 10 years of historical data when we're looking at some of our enrollment models, and we're also doing disaggregated projections. So we'll look at different populations, how those populations are changing over the time periods, and trying to and doing estimates of how that's going to impact our enrollment and therefore the budget. We've also done a transformation in our program review process. We have integration with labor market data. We have new data-driven program evaluation. Before, no offense, our program review is kind of more kind of objective, just not objective, subjective.
Subjective, yeah.
You know, kind of what people thought about stuff. But now we've got a lot of data. So we're looking at internal data. We have external metrics in terms of the job market. We have a weighted scoring system. And so, again, we're looking at success. We're looking at number of graduates, enrollments, but also kind of what do individuals in these particular programs, what the job market, what that looks like in the area. So that job market integration is done with LightCast. We've done, AIR has done presentations on all the divisions to talk about what's available in LightCast. So we've had certainly increased engagement. So across the divisions, they now have access to LightCast and they can run the data in terms of job demand, wages, skills. Are there, and again, regional comparisons. What do this job look like in this region? And we can either go just in the county or more in kind of southeastern Michigan. And then we have the program alignment with the workforce. So remember, if you remember the presentation we had on LightCast, it talks about not only the jobs, but the skills that are required on those, for those particular jobs. So that information can then be brought back into the program to make sure if I'm producing a welder, here's the specific skills that in companies that are hiring welders are looking for. We've had a dashboard evolution. In 23-25, we were putting our dashboards in Tableau. There's a limitation on Tableau in that it required special licensing. We now, in this last year, have been transitioning to Power BI with our Microsoft contract. Now everybody has access to Power BI, so we're transitioning those dashboards so that everyone has access to them. We have focused on self-service analytics and interactive filtering so that you can filter by division, you can filter by gender, you can filter by particular department. And so again, it's providing, those dashboards provide faster access to key metrics that any area might be looking at. I think we have shifted from, we shifted from static reports to interactive analytics. So again, providing student overviews, course success rates, retention and persistence. I'll have some really good news when we talk about graduates a little bit later at this meeting. We also have benchmarking and external reporting. So we participate, and we have for a number of years, in the National Community College Benchmark Project, NCCBP. This provides us with, we know we're good, but this report kind of shows how do we compare nationally and how do we compare across state institutions. And so, like for instance, something that will come out of this is nationally, WCC is in the 90th percentile of students who are receiving passing grades in credit courses. We're in the 23rd percentile, which is where you want to be low, of terms of students withdrawing from institutions. So that, again, would be aligned with, on the opposite end of students passing. At the state level, we're at the 88th percentile in the percentage of our students who graduate in 2 years, and 89th percentile across states, students who are graduating in the 3-year time. So again, it gives us not only how do we look internally, but how do we look in terms of our sister schools. We also participated this year in the National Post-Secondary Student Aid Study for federal reporting. Again, there's periodically institutions selected by the federal government to participate in that survey. And then we have improved our external positioning and benchmarking, again, with the data that we're doing in these reports. We are doing data-informed decision-making. So again, as we talked about, we're doing enrollment planning, course scheduling, looking at where we are putting our courses based on information that we get back from our students, program evaluation, and our student success initiatives that we have been talking about, that VP Jennings talked about earlier in terms of looking at how successful some of our initiatives are. We also have found that our cross-collaboration has increased across faculty, administration, and finance with the AIR office in terms of getting data to all of those groups. This year, AIR is teaming with Kirsten Rue, Associate Dean Kirsten Rue, to look at new student outcome work group. And so one of the things that we do when we do the graduate follow-up survey, we're required to do that 6 months after they graduate. Well, 6 months after they graduate, they don't always, aren't always telling us, aren't always responding to surveys. So now we're figuring out with both faculty and AIR is figuring out where are different ways that we can get access to that data. Maybe finding out at the time they're graduating. EVP Tucker had a great idea as students were coming to pick up their caps and gowns. They are saying we're doing free headshots for their resume if they tell us where they're going. What are they doing? Where did you get a job? And so if we can capture that right away, and again, doing a better database of capturing that information because we know our students are successful, but they don't always just answer that particular survey. So we're excited about gathering more of that data and collaborating with faculty because sometimes they know some of that data as well. So certainly key trends over the last 3 years, a shift to more proactive analytics. So we've gone from data review to actually insights and what does this data mean to us. Increased survey usage, our integration of labor market data, which I think has been key. Growth in our self-service dashboards and stronger cross-campus collaboration. Looking ahead, our future focus of areas will be enhancing our predictive modeling, improving our data accessibility as we're going to roll out these dashboards to more of the staff, expanded employment outcome tracking, which is that group I just talked about, and our continued dashboard development. Thank you.
Oh, they're changing seats? I'm especially proud of the fact that we actually use data now. We just don't collect it. We actually use it. So it's great. Thank you.
Well, I'm third up, and I'm before you tonight to talk about our online strategy, what we've been able to accomplish over the last 3 years, and where we kind of see ourselves going. So if you remember, 3 years ago, we were at the midst of a transition in our LMS. We had to move from Blackboard to Canvas, and it was a large feat. We started with the pilot in fall of '24 with 25 sections to really allow our faculty and our CINO team to walk this journey together, to see what were the best practices, what were kind of the kinks, because we realized that our online portfolio was large. We have a large number of students who take online courses. So we were successful in that pilot, and then in winter 2025, we kind of opened the floodgates, and then we moved to 385 sections. Still learning together, and then in spring, summer of 2025, we successfully transitioned and had just under 700 sections fully adopted. It's important to note that throughout this process, it required faculty, along with CINO, to partner together to reformat and redesign our courses. For those of you who've taken online courses here at the college, Blackboard looks a lot different than Canvas. Canvas looks a lot better, but that also required our faculty to really work with our instructional designers to set up their courses in what we had deemed standardized templates. So before in Blackboard, you might take a history course or an English course, and they look totally different. Now we have standardized templates that allow course faculty to add their secret sauce, but the look and feel, the accessibility, the color palette looks identical. So students have a greater experience across whatever discipline they might be taking. I think it's important to note when we talk about the largeness of our online enrollments, just over the last year, leading up until this semester, we supported just over 74,000 student enrollments across Canvas connected modalities. And I want to pause there. And when we think about Canvas, we utilize Canvas not just for online, but we utilize Canvas for what we would call our virtual courses, where you're taking a class at a certain time, synchronous, but then also we use it for all of our on-ground sections. And that was the real transition. We moved to Canvas that every student, no matter if you're taking an online course, taking a virtual course, or you're taking an on-ground course, you have a Canvas shell, which provides an avenue for grading as well as feedback.
On ground, is that the same as in person?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep, on ground, in person. It started really with kind of three legs of the stool is our faculty and student support. For what we had to ensure that our faculty were developed and they had the greatest tools and resources available to them. So just over the last year, we've offered 110 workshops, had over 2,300 faculty attend. This is both full-time and part-time. And what I want to highlight is the number of support interactions. So over 3,600 support interactions, and that would be from our part-time and our full-time faculty being able to call either our faculty help desk or our IT help desk to be able to be supported in their particular courses. When we talk about professional development and making sure faculty are prepared to be able to be the greatest instructors in their courses, there's a number of topics. These are just some highlights tonight. We've been able to have workshops on AI, accessibility, which is extremely important with standards from the federal government that are about a year out. They just extended it. Academic integrity, so how do we look at multiple measures of assessment, but then also just around online pedagogy, knowing that the world is changing, the expectation of students are changing. How do we ensure that we create that online experience that mirrors what we would have in the on-ground classroom? And we can't do this alone. CITL is a small but mighty team, but it takes our faculty partners from Faculty Professional Development. Oftentimes, those sessions that we offer are co-hosted with FPD. For one, it increases the attendance and support, but that also ensures that we have a faculty voice at the table. But then also, of course, our deans and as well as our teaching and learning center, because a lot of these workshops, they require the expertise of that particular area. But then also when we talk about the student support and experience, we wanted our online, and this was a goal over the last 3 years, to mirror a good experience that they may get in the classroom on campus online. So we created a student resource hub. So when we talk about our presentation previously for VP Jennings as well as Provost Blakey about the resources that are available to students, even though they might be online, we have many of those same resources available. So there's a hub that would simulate walking into our student center where they have one area where if they have issues with emergency assistant needs, they've got a direct link to be able to know who they can contact in the foundation, for example. In addition, we've expanded our support for our Summer Bridge program, our dual enrollment students that we have, as well as our early middle college. I know that a number of years ago, the question was posed to us around SOQs and being able to expand our response rates. We've been able to improve those and overall navigation. So it's almost taking what we used to know as a console TV on the floor and making it a flat screen. So we've been able to modernize that experience. In addition, from an innovation and institutional reach perspective, we've had 13 Canvas integrations piloted or implemented, 5 AI and emerging tech faculty initiatives, and then 6 credit, non-credit, and partner programs supported. What does this mean? We know that Canvas is the engine for learning. However, as part of that engine, you have a number of different inputs that make that engine better. So when we talk about integrations, those could be publisher materials, McGraw-Hill, that a faculty wants to use that has some really cool tools. We have a full-time resource in CITL that works just with faculty to ensure they have the support they need around these tools. What's really exciting is when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's not coming, it's here. We've created an AI community of practice that is housed in CITL. We have a little over a dozen, almost 24 faculty that are part of that community of practice. And what are they doing? They're learning from faculty in the institution, like a Clear Sparkling, but also learning from faculty outside of the institution, and then experts across the country. They have, I think, 6 workshops this semester that they've been able to come in, learn together, but then also share how they're using AI in their particular courses. But then we also continue to support our partners like JATC, connect to their UA, to ensure that they have the support because they're also moving to this platform as well. We hosted our Michigan Canvas conference here on campus, and it went over so well. It was actually right in this room, a little over 100 faculty and staff from across the state that were hosting it again this upcoming fall. And that really showed our position around online learning across the state because our faculty and our staff were highlighted and did some workshops. But one, as we talk about data, Provost Blakey gave us a really good background on what we're doing with data. That is supported in online as well. So when we talk about really utilizing data to inform not just student success, but faculty success and organizational success, we now have a way to look and say, is this program that's offered online in the way that it's designed, are students succeeding? Do faculty have the resources they need to be successful? And then what is the quality check? So we've created and enhanced our process for QA, what we call in CITO, to ensure before the courses go out on the street, they've had multiple checks, not just from our CITO team, led by Dee Weckerly, but our faculty. So ensuring that from a pedagogical perspective, but then also a design perspective, that we have the best course that's going out for our students that are taking it online. So when we talk about what we've built, we have to remind ourselves that online learning is not just a delivery format, but it's a driver of student access, flexibility, enrollment growth, institutional resilience, and a sustainability from a financial standpoint. You might remember, and I believe our student success retreat that we had last November, $16.9 million, 2024 to 25, came from online. That compares to just over 13 million on ground or on campus. So we're seeing that our online offerings are outpacing our on-ground offerings. So it is something that we're trying to keep our eye on, but how do we continue to sharpen our saw, but also make sure that we're offering the best experience for students? So when we think about, and we've mentioned this before, the modality mix, we know not just from national data, but from data from our analytics and IR department, that when students take more credits, and I'm not talking about, 18, 19 credits, but when they go from 9 to 12, for example, there's a higher persistence and retention, and ultimately a faster completion. And we know that just this summer, which we are still enrolling for, 7.95 credits are what students are averaging on campus compared to 6.55 online. But when you put students that are taking a course online and 2 courses on campus, that average credit goes to 11.07. So we know that almost double when students take both. And those students are completing faster, but also having greater student success. So we want to continue to encourage that when it makes sense. And that's why it's so important to be able to meet students where they are. Some students need that class after 6 o'clock because they've been at work all day. But some students want to take that 6 o'clock along with 2 other online so they get done quicker, get to U of M, get to Eastern, or be able to get to employment. So the question becomes, where are we going, right? And I know that in a future meeting, we'll talk more about that in detail. But just to give the board kind of a preview, is really focusing over the next 3 years on 4 areas. Really refreshing our online program portfolio. You might remember, literally, I think 12 years ago, when we first started a strategic plan, online was at the forefront. We said we've got to get programs online, not just courses, but programs. Well, now we have 50 of our 140 programs that can be taken fully online. But we need to really look at that portfolio and say, okay, now that they're online, how do we make them great, not just good? But then also to create a distinctive student experience. We've done a good job in having a student hub, but making sure that we offer opportunities for students to be engaged online in a way that they feel a sense of community. But then also to continue to establish WCC's market position and to drive modality integration. The priority 1, really looking at that online program portfolio, is really looking at taking our existing programs and saying, where do we need to maybe invest more energy and time? An example of that would be in our business management transfer. We know that's a high growth program, or our criminal justice, that we had heard from local agencies. If you put this online, we will have more officers and more law enforcement professionals be able to upskill. Well, what happened? That criminal justice program that's online is now outpacing the on-ground or in-person offerings. So really taking a deeper dive at that program portfolio and say, where do we need to add more resources in terms of energy, and refreshing if those programs have not been looked at, the last couple years. Second, as I mentioned before, is to really look at from a student experience perspective, not just so that they enjoy their online experience, but looking at that data to say, in these particular programs or courses, are students doing well? Or if they're not, being able to bring in faculty, bring in our team and say, what are some areas of opportunity that we can probably try to improve? But then also to continue to improve, as we've talked about our advising, but really looking at, is it necessary to have targeted advising for online students because they have a different walk of life versus maybe our on-ground student? Or do we need to offer it at a different time so that we can touch? Because we know that students are from across the country taking our online courses, and that number continues to grow. And I think, it's important to be reminded that our main competitor is not our local community college. Mm-mm. So when you talk about the amount of students that are taking courses online, when you talk about the amount of credits that are being obtained, the amount of enrollments that are being launched, we're leading in the entire state out of all 28 public community colleges. But we know that our four-year partners are seeing this as their enrollment continues to dip. I'm not talking about U of M, not talking about Michigan State, but some of our national partners, that's really our competition now. Southern New Hampshire and the like. Part of that leads me to the third point of establishing our market position. We know that we're doing a very good job. How do we continue to do a good job and move that to a great job, but then also to look at where we need to go next? What does that look like? Some of our newer programs that we brought online on ground, can those be delivered potentially online? Or I credit Dean Samosky and Assistant Dean Rue in our automotive area. They have looked to online as an opportunity to allow students more flexibility that might be in, for example, our automotive programs. So now their lecture is able to be given online, then they come to campus for their lab. Well, what does that do for the college, right? It now frees up lab space, allows for us to be able to have more students in the program, but then also provides the flexibility that if Brandon is taking an auto class and I get my lecture online and I'm a Tuesday, Thursday student, and say something happens in life, because it does, and I miss my Tuesday lab, well, labs are Monday through Thursday. So now I can go into a lab on Monday or Wednesday that I traditionally would not have been able to do because I was only in an on-ground course that met twice a week. So really looking at those creative ways to support students and to continue to grow our market share. But then lastly, as I've mentioned, is our modality integration. So looking at how do we encourage students when it makes sense. We don't want any student to be online, just like if it's an online student, we don't want them to come to campus if it doesn't make sense for their life. But when it does, how do we encourage them to look at both modes and modalities as ways to continue to learn? And of course, all of these come with measures that we will be tracking. At the end of the day, we have a lot of opportunity, and we have, I think, worked really hard over the last 3 years to build upon what was already a good foundation and make it better. This just provides kind of a rollout of what we're thinking. For one, over the next year, is to research plan and to pilot, to really partner with faculty and say, hey, what does it look like, for example, to move not just that auto program in a mixed mode format, but maybe it's another discipline. The year after that, to execute and scale, and then, of course, continuous improvement that we assess and we renew by year 3. And of course, we'll be sharing more information with the board as in the next few months. I want to give a thank you because this work would not happen without our faculty. Our faculty work really hard to make sure that we have a great experience, not just on campus, but online. That our academic deans, Dean Carl Weckerly, and then He has I call them a dream team in Citto, led by two directors, Nancy Collison, who leads our kind of tech side, the online technologies, and Dave Goodrich, who I think is here tonight, who leads kind of our creative and our design team. It is those people in GM who partner with faculty to make this great work happen, and without them, we would not be as far ahead as we are. So definitely want to shout them out. With that, I'll answer any questions that the board may have.
Go ahead, Eileen.
So you said that the SOQ return rate is increased?
It has, for a number of reasons. So when we went to the board, that number, I think, was dismal, 30-something%.
Yes.
I think we've been able to almost double that number
Okay.
with a couple of things. For one, WTMC
Yep.
previously was not in that pool. So when we presented that number, they weren't given any feedback. So WTMC and our dual enrollment partners are included in that. But then also, we've created some awareness campaigns across campus, both in our library and within our faculty, to encourage people to give feedback. And we've seen significant increases, which is what we want. Now, we want 100%, but we're not there yet.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ruth, did you have a question?
Yeah, perhaps being a Luddite, I don't know. I have a concern about online in general. I understand how wonderful it is for students and the flexibility and so forth. But I don't know if it's one of the pillars or not, but for me, one of the pillars of education is for people to learn how to work together with other people, for people to disagree with each other and not shoot each other, for people to have the experience of working with people who don't look like them. All those sort of soft skills, those, I know it's, an old romantic notion, but I think those things are very important for people, especially when they get into the workforce. And it's important if we have whole programs online that we find a way, and I know there are some ways in the past, to integrate that kind of experience into those classes so that when you get into the workforce, I mean, as a result of COVID, as a result of all the division that's going on in this country, we have to put into our educational process exercises, systems, readings, whatever, that encourage students to come out of that shell, to come out of that isolation, and appreciate other people. And I think that's a very important part of higher education, in high school. And if you're not sitting next to someone who's different from you, you have to integrate that into the online experience. If you can get the degree here and never have to see anybody you don't like, that ain't gonna work. I remember at the University of Wisconsin, the top 10 business companies did not come to recruit students. Why not at the recruiting time? Because they saw that the students at the University of Wisconsin had no experience with inclusiveness and diversity and different people, and that was not appropriate for their workplace. So we need to, you see what I'm saying? I think that's an important part of what online has to try to do, and to make it excellent that way.
I would totally agree. And I think that traditional online used to be, the interaction expectation was fill out a discussion post.
Right.
Right? And we know there's federal guidelines around what we call regular and substantive interaction. That's a law. But that is something that our team has been really working hard on with all new courses and the ones we go back and refresh. How do we provide faculty with those tools, because if I've taught online for 15 years, I'm going to go with what I know. Fill out the discussion posts on Monday and Wednesday. But how do you incorporate videos? How do you incorporate meetups? Not meeting in person, but like meeting online, to be able to foster that conversation and interaction. So that is something that I know that not only CITL, but OFAC and OLAD, our faculty teams, are really trying to provide best practices, because some faculty are doing it and doing it really well. And we're trying to, make sure that everybody knows that it's something that you should do, but how you do it. Because a lot of times they want to do it, but they don't know how. So point well taken, is something we're working on. Yep.
Questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm here to wind this conversation up by talking about the campus master plan process briefly. And it will be brief because this is one that, really we're just getting rolling on, which is very exciting. But I would like to say this, and that is what you've been hearing here tonight, hearing about the way our use of data has changed and increased and become more effective, and that the way we look at our students and what are their barriers and how to address that, and how do we help them get through their work here, as students, and then talking about modalities and how students, have definite preferences and needs, and what are the best ways to make sure all that is accounted for. So in a way, there's almost never been a better time to do a campus master plan, because we have this much more information that will really help in this process. So some of this isn't new, but as kind of a reminder, the key components that we're looking at with the campus master plan: first, the space utilization study, which we completed in 2025. And that evaluates the use of space, classrooms, labs, offices across campus, identifies possible inefficiencies, maybe underutilized areas and opportunities, and really can transform to inform with data-driven decision-making ways to optimize the use of spaces on campus for faculty, staff, and students. And so that predated the master plan launch, as you know. The campus master plan, we look at that, it's a long-term, really a strategic blueprint, not unlike what we were just talking about with online, that guides the physical development of a campus. And it aligns facilities and infrastructure with our mission, our vision, our values, our goals, and future needs. So one is shorter term, one is longer term, and they really do work together. The space utilization study we've talked about a little bit. This was completed by Rick's Associates, as I said, in May of 2025, and it's really focused on how our current space is used and how it might be improved. Those findings are already being used as part of the master plan process and will continue to be looked at in depth over the next year. And the goal is really to ensure that every square foot aligns with our mission, vision, and values. The new campus master plan, as you recall, the most recent plan before the one we're working on now was 2019, so pre-COVID. And a lot has changed since then, and many institutions are going with shorter cycles since COVID because change is just that much more rapid now. The goal is to make sure that we address students' needs and their preferences, and that includes looking at the growth of online and hybrid instruction, new expectations for the workplace and campus flexibility, services such as wellness, collaboration, access, and also the integration of emerging technologies, many of these things that we have just been talking about tonight. So we have partnered with the collaborative. Thank you to the board. And we've started working with them. And I think that they have really kind of summed it up with this slide that they produced, talking about students and aligning the campus with changing needs. You know, they, as you can see, it says students are not all on campus in the same ways or at the same times. A broader range of student brings a wider range of needs and expectations. Learning is happening across different formats, different time frames and pathways, and external trends will continue to shape who WCC serves and how students engage. So it gives an idea of the importance of this endeavor. So what has been completed and what's in progress? Thank you again. We have board approval of our planning partner, the collaborative, that came in February. And Rachel Monami from the collaborative did come and talk to the board at the March meeting and introduced some of the trends that they're looking at and kind of what the process would be like. Currently, we're in stage 1 of this process, discovery and analysis. And at this time, so far, we've been having an ongoing collection of key data for the collaborative to use, both academic data, lots of facilities data that VP Whipstop could talk about, and that includes also the space utilization study, of course. We have kicked off a WC work group to help guide some of this, and the collaborative has had multiple tours of campus, inside, outside, instructional space. You know, they're just getting started with that, but they've been here a number of times touring. And we have started having some feedback sessions with various groups on campus. Again, just getting started with that. And that will include the board at some point over the next several months. And lastly, additional work that's happening. As you recall, the collaborative, in addition to talking to people on campus and looking at, you know, our spaces, they are also doing facilities work with us and are doing a facilities assessment, infrastructure assessment, helping with resilience planning and, I should say, sustainability, and working on a parking structure. And they have started some of that work too. So this is a continuing goal. And this is from their own kind of draft schedule. Right now, we're in that discovery and analysis phase, which should go through the summer. And then we will be in the preliminary studies, and that will take place roughly July, September. And then in the fall, we'll start kind of plan refinement, probably going through January. And then the final plan and documents are expected about a year from when we started, so January to March. So we look forward to keeping you updated on that process.
Go ahead, Dave.
So I'm looking at the preliminary data and going into July, and we have all these trade partnerships that come in the summer. I'm assuming and hoping that the collaborative is getting information from them and what their needs are.
Yep,
because that's a critical component of some of the things that we do here.
Yeah, they're fully aware, and they know kind of what their schedules are, who's coming when, how many people are expected. So they've started looking at that.
So they'll be engaging them in the data collection and what their needs are.
Yeah, no, they've asked us for information to help.
Well, I want to make sure they have input, and I think that's what you're saying.
Right, exactly.
Not just
Oh,
awareness, that they
Just
give input.
Right, I
and
think
that's
that-
what we'll make sure of.
Okay,
Is
sorry,
that
I
what you're saying, Dave?
That's exactly
Okay.
what I'm hoping.
Okay.
Is that they're consulted as
Absolutely.
what their
Yeah.
needs are, so they're putting their needs on the table because they have changing needs as well. Yeah.
And also the board, and we have, I don't have the date, do you?
We don't have a date yet for the board, so, but we'll.
To get your input.
Yeah, yes.
Any other
Right
questions?
now, we're meeting with the faculty before they leave for the summer.
Makes sense. Any other questions? Okay, we're good.
Can I, while they're changing
Yeah, go ahead.
seats? Okay. I just wanted to explain, just review with the board. So this next month, we used to do all this. Aren't you glad there weren't 8 categories, only 4? So next month, we'll review where we're going next. And we'll be talking about our next 3-year plan. Some of this will be included. We're not even there yet. Some of this will be included, but this is the whole, you're all used to it. We do this all the time. This is the trajectory. So we completed this session somewhat. Nothing's dropped. It either becomes part of the operation or it continues as a strategic objective. But, so that's what's next. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So is that the end of the strategic
Yes.
report? Okay, cool. All right, we are on to tab C then, the monthly reports. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the personnel recommendations as submitted. Do I hear a motion? So moved.
Board.
Any questions or discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, tab D, the financial reports. So before we get started, VP Barnes.
Good evening. Let me just get to the numbers page. Okay. Just to recap what's happened so far in terms of tuition and fees this year. The fall semester, we ended up almost 3% versus budget. We ended up about 2.9%. Winter, we're concluding the winter semester now. We're up about 1%. But it was a little bit weaker in terms of strength versus the budget than the fall was. And now we're entering into the summer semester, and we've seen quite a bit of weakness. Now, last summer was a particularly strong summer, but we're down versus last summer by around 6%. So you can see that gradual weakening from fall to winter to spring, summer. And the reason you don't see, when you look at the numbers on the page, the spring, summer, you don't see a negative variance there. And you don't see that negative variance because last summer was a really good summer. And 40% of the money, any classes that happen post-January 1 fall into this fiscal year. So that's kind of masking, if you will, the weakness that we're seeing in the summer semester. And I wanted to bring this to your attention in particular because we'll be talking about this a little more later this evening at the public hearing for the budget. In terms of property taxes, that variance there of $348,000, I would say that is real. And we're still awaiting the one-time payment because the SIO DDA was dissolved. So we are still expecting a one-time payment, hopefully in mid-May. In terms of state appropriations, there's been no major changes versus the past months. We got 2.7% in this year versus what we had budgeted at 2%, and also the LCSA payments have been, or the payment has been favorable. Trade partnerships continue to improve. The investment income also is doing the same trajectory we've been on. I'm expecting that trend to basically continue throughout the rest of the fiscal year. In terms of other, I've mentioned in the past, we've got the extra police academy in there, so you see that additional revenue. And as in auxiliary services, we've got conference services has been favorable. Here at the ML building, the bookstore has also been doing well, and public surplus, where we sell surplus materials, has been doing well. So in total there, you can see a favorable variance versus the budget. In terms of expenditures, again, quite favorable. We have experienced some vacancies, and I'll just reiterate what I've mentioned in previous months. Right now, we have about 24 vacancies, and last year we were averaging 39. So even though we continue to see favorable dollars related to those vacancies, that's getting fewer and fewer because we are filling those vacancies. I also wanted to bring your attention to the two negative numbers. You see there a negative 70,000. I've talked about that in the past. The additional police academy that we have brings additional costs with it. So it's more revenue. There's also more cost. And the same goes for the next line. I failed to mention above the lifelong learning has been experiencing additional revenue as well. So along with that additional revenue in lifelong learning, there's some additional cost from the part-time instructors that we hire related to lifelong learning. So that would explain the two negative variances there. Are there any, that's really all I wanted to highlight. If there are any questions.
Questions? Okay, good.
I make a motion that the Board of Trustees receive the financial reports for March 2026, General Fund, Capital Fund, and Combined Schedule of Investments, all funds as submitted.
I hear a motion.
Support.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, tab E, the Facilities Development Report.
All right. Good evening. I'd like to highlight some of our notable projects that we've been working on for the past month. Battery lab generator. The battery lab is now complete. We got a full certificate of occupancy for the program from the township, so it is complete. Walkway lighting, first phase is complete. We're waiting actually for a couple poles to finish up the project and to get it certified. One of the things I wanted to highlight, it's not as notable here in this picture, but the new lighting system, which is about half the electrical consumption of the old, is far brighter. So if you look on the left side of the one picture is our old lighting system, and on the right side is our new. You can actually see a huge difference between the old lighting and the new lighting. It's a lot brighter and more energy efficient.
Go ahead.
Just in regard to that, is it more night sky compliant with trying to
They are
keep
night-
dark night
yes.
skies?
They are,
So-
dark-
Because the sky on the right side looks lighter than the sky on the left side. Is that you?
What's that?
On this picture here.
Same sky.
No, the right sky is the new lights, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the
So I'm
walkway
saying
path.
that sky looks all lit up.
I,
Closer to the camera and it's capturing more of that light.
no, yeah, if you look on that same picture, if you look on the other side of the roadway, on the grass side, you'll see the old lighting system, which is a lot duller looking on that same picture where the walkway is. That's what I was trying to note, that even though the old lights consume more energy.
This is brighter.
Yeah.
But I hope it's putting less light up into the night sky.
Yes, they are
Dark sky
dark skies compliant.
Okay.
Yes, and what these new ones are, they're also a wider path, and so instead of spots, spot lighting, it gives you a more
I see.
consistent lighting throughout the path.
Thank you very much.
OE clean room is underway. Demo is done. We're starting construction on it. Timing is, we're still on time with that. And the SC restroom renovation. We got our certificate of compliance today. We will be opening the rest of the bathrooms up tomorrow.
Thank you.
So, yes, they'll be put back online tomorrow.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Bravo.
Yeah, really.
Some of the other projects, these are small projects that we've been working on. One of the things that we've been working on is to renovate or update common areas. This is the OE student lounge area, which is right across from the welding shop. So we've been doing a little bit of recarpeting, painting, doing flooring just to make these common areas look a little bit more appealing. We also have been updating faculty offices and pods. We just completed the OE faculty offices last month, carpeting, painting throughout their offices. The LA 140 auditorium is underway. We're starting the construction, installing of the lights and the panels and everything. And this is on target for completion. One of the things I was asked to bring up to talk about was our severe storm that we had back on April 15th. This is right from the NOAA website. We had an EF tornado with peaks of winds of 110 miles an hour. Apparently, it started near the Jackson Avenue I-94 area, moved southeast across the city, including Veterans Memorial Park, and ended near downtown areas of the central Ann Arbor area. As far as how we were affected, out in front on Huron River Drive, 2 electric poles were knocked down. That's what took out our electricity. As you can see, we had many trees down. Of course, picnic tables and other things were strewed around. The good thing is that our buildings didn't see hardly any damage. Some soffit panels may have blown off. We had a couple exhaust fan tops that we were blown off and just put back on, but there was no real sustainable damage to our buildings. Some gates were blown off, and we did see a lot of tree damage throughout our area. Currently, right now, our nature trail is offline. There was quite a bit of trees. I asked Holly today, she estimates how many trees were knocked out, and she's estimating between 75 and 100 trees throughout our campus.
Wow. Now, excuse me, maybe I shouldn't say this, forget it.
Anybody know what you're going to say.
No, let me talk. Are we going to get any flashback about putting some trees back in because they were knocked over from Superior Township?
Reforestation?
Of the
I mean,
township.
I don't know if
Are we
they're,
going to do it? I mean, do we have to put back the number of trees that fell down?
well, not with a nature event. Now, if we were to knock these
Okay.
trees out to
Yeah.
build something, yes, we would have to
Okay.
do that. This is a natural, but our grounds crew, once this is cleaned up, will start replanting, guaranteed that.
But not the number of trees.
What's that?
Not the same number of trees.
I can't,
Okay.
they'll be, yeah, planting, yeah.
I just asked. Thank you.
So with this grounds damage, are we dealing with this in-house clearing, or have we had to contract with outside
Both.
contractors that'll be additional costs that we weren't anticipating?
Yeah, initially, it was our crew getting the campus back online, getting the trees out of the roadways and that. We are getting cost quotes from outside vendors to clean up the forest, especially the nature trail, trying to get that back online. There's so many trees down that there's no way we could do all that work. So we are getting outside quotes to
So
clean
is
it up.
this the unexpected costs, which we have budgeted for emergencies, or is this within our budget
So
to deal with this?
we are gathering costs, and I'm going to be submitting it to Terry for an insurance evaluation.
Okay. Thank you.
Is this cleanup a chipping process, or is there any commercial value to any of the downed trees?
As far as selling the wood for
Yeah.
firewood and all that, that would be part of their quotes, deduct, but a lot
More
of
details
the.
to follow.
What's that? Yeah.
More details to follow.
But a lot of
Okay.
the wood chips, I know that Holly's crew will use that and spread it on the nature trail for walking paths and stuff like that.
Oh, go ahead, Ruth.
On page 2, there's almost $70,000 for engineering design. Is that for the lockdowns?
That's
Or-
actually for multiple projects. That's PBA doing electrical. That's the next phase of the walkway lighting. That is the
Walkway
door-
lighting, okay.
Yeah, the door lockdown. So it's actually multiple engineering, electrical engineering is through different projects here.
Okay, thank you.
More? Okay.
All right, yep. All right, moving on to remarks. Do any of the Board of Trustees have remarks?
I do.
Go ahead, Ruth.
I was, I'll pass these out, take one and pass it along. I was invited, when was that? Where is my note? Thank you. Last week, I was invited to the English Department celebration of Excellence Awards, and I think it's the second department that's begun to do this. Teachers were asked to nominate students in 4 categories: excellence in English, excellence in collegial experience, excellence in learning, and excellence in creative expression. So these are those skills that employers, that AI is not going to cover. In other words, these are skills that will sustain students in their employment for a long time. 44 students were nominated by their instructor for those awards. Each category was introduced by a short speech from a faculty defining the award. I have a quote from 2 of them. This is the Collegial Excellence Award. Every semester for the past 20 years, this is a faculty speaking, I've started every class by telling my students that when class rosters become class communities, everyone in class tends to learn higher grades. And when we all take responsibility for each other's growth and well-being, we create classrooms where everyone matters, where everyone belongs, and when we do this, we cannot help but rise. In a moment when too many powerful forces are pushing division and distrust among Americans, I can't think of anything more important than building learning communities on a foundation of compassion and inclusion. It's a gift to honor the winners of the first annual English and College Readiness Collegial Excellence Award today. So they called up each student who got an award of one of the 44, they got a certificate with a pretty award on it, but they also got a letter from that instructor that nominated them to include in their resume about what kind of student they were and what their talents were. So I think that was a very positive thing to do. They came away with something that will be useful in their next. There were maybe 70 or 80 people in that writing center room because students that no one knew if anybody would show up to get these. They'd never done it before. But families came, children came, grandparents came. It was a very festive, wonderful experience for the students. One of the faculty told the reason why he did this was because when he started a community college, he didn't think he belonged there. And someone in one of the departments gave out these awards, just like this, and he finally realized that he got one, and he said, well, maybe I do belong here, and maybe I can do that, and now he's a full-time faculty member in our English department. There was another competitive award for one student who got it, and he intends to go on to Eastern to become an English teacher, and I bet you he'll be back. Because he's a former tutor, and a lot of our full-time English teachers have been tutors in our writing center before. So it was a grand afternoon, and there was even cheese and crackers, so thank you.
Go ahead, Bill.
I just want to give a.
Bill, and then you.
I'm sorry.
I was here 2 weeks ago for the CCAT Mobility Conference, an arm of the University of Michigan Center for Connected and Automated Transportation. And we got some very fine compliments from the University of Michigan for the facility that we have here that they utilized. There were about 500 people that were here for the day. And some of them were talking about their colleagues back on campus who couldn't understand why in the world they came all the way over here to Washtenaw Community College for this conference. They said, you got to be kidding. Parking, catering, service from the personnel, they just ticked off the list about how nicely this worked and how nicely prepared the campus was to host CCAT. So I wanted you all to hear that.
Thank you. All right, you're next.
Yeah, just real quick. Last week, SIMCOG had arranged where the members would tour a data center in Southfield. It's called 1230net. And it was really, I thought it was going to be like, ugh, let me get my blanket, you know. But it was, it was so interesting. And they took us on the tour, and I was able to get some pictures. I mean, we were in very secured areas that you, in order to get in, the person had to unlock the door. We stood in a little foyer, and then he had to unlock that so we can get in where these towers are, or they're called cache. And there's rows and rows of them. And then on the outside, that's where the storage is for the, you know, I say utility, but that's what it is. And they partner with, this is all just for southeastern Michigan, but primarily on the eastern side of, like where Detroit is at, eastern side of Michigan. But it was like 3 hours long, and we all enjoyed it. Every person from every different county, township, and village was there. It was a good turnout. Very, very nice. But also I want to say it really helped us to understand about data centers. And they talked very deeply about how data centers, there's all different kinds. Every data center is not the same. And I didn't realize that. I thought they were all the same, just like the one going out in Saline and the one that they're trying to do over in Ypsi Township. So and it was really interesting of how they did that. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Any other board comments?
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Well, it's been a great month, a busy month. First, the Student Art Show, which was really very successful. And the TEDx at WCC, again, from the Humanities Department, really very well organized, and the faculty did an amazing, amazing job. And I do want to tell you, one of the awards given at this at the communications event was the Ruth Hatcher Legacy Award. Is that correct? Did I say it the right way? Is that correct, Anne?
That's great.
So that, congratulations, Ruth. That's really something. Really it is.
I'm just old enough and survived, that's all.
And Free College Week was a huge success. We had it all week online, as you know, and Saturday was a really full day here. And there were students here, literally, from children from this teddy bear clinic. They came in, they got a teddy bear, they adopted a teddy bear, and with the teddy bear, they went to the health department, the nursing, and they went through the nursing department with, of course, their parents. So you get and the teddy bear had a checkup provided by the students, and the parent also had an opportunity to see the facility and hear about our program. And then after that, they went to the dental facility, dental assisting. That was so cute. They had stuffed animals with teeth, and the children were, again, with their parents, so they learned a lot. They were, they learned how to brush teeth, and their teddy bear had a checkup, and it was really cute. And then this is all where Sherry Lambert, her department, they did a phenomenal job with this. The back of it lists all the programs. So a parent walked out with a teddy bear, a healthy teddy bear, and a checklist. but that's where the PTK event was. There were people there, it was touching because there were people there, seriously, from little children to like 80, 85-year-olds that were so happy to be here because they took, different classes, and it was just really a wonderful event. So I'd like to thank everyone who put that together, and we'll give you a report on that another time. And lastly, I want to thank Dave DeBart, Trustee DeBarty, who has always thought about the college when it comes to the Ann Arbor Film Festival. And he himself purchases tickets to ensure that our students have an opportunity to participate in this film festival. And because of his involvement, we are even now noted, right, in here with the leaders. Actually, tell them about this, David. You got your mouth?
Well, we have a tremendous film and video program here at the college that's one of the best in the state, and we win awards, competitive awards, where our students even exceed in recognition students from four-year universities. The film festival has actually started a new Voices program that has student films from, including from college in England and University of Toledo, Grand Valley, colleges all over Michigan and the region, and even internationally, that students get up on stage afterwards, and the engagement with students as with filmmakers that also come here from all over the world, presenting films that are in competition. Our new Voice students were not in competition, but the students were able to engage with filmmakers who are bringing films from all over the world in competition for awards. Some of the awards can qualify award winners for consideration in the Oscar Awards, the annual Academy Awards in a couple categories. So anyway, I want to thank the college has become a sponsor. Other four-year universities are sponsors, and I'm proud to say that our students are second to none in their capabilities, and that's shown. I know they've been, I don't know if they've come here to our meetings, but I know they've been awarded statewide with other universities and community college students, and I'm really proud of our college. I wasn't going to say anything about it, but.
Yes, sir.
Did you make a presentation to Aisha Bo?
Oh, that's right, I gave Aisha Bo at the TEDx at WCC. Thank you, trustees, for coming. We gave her, she's a graduate now. She's an official alum from Washtenaw Community College, and that was a very nice event. Thank you.
Live wire, too. A lot of energy in that woman.
Yes, she was great, so thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving forward to, where are we? Tab F, old business. All right, tab F, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees recommends that the college, when developing its FY 2027 budget, utilizes the maximum allowable 2627 ad valorem rate for operations, which at its current rate of 3.3280 mils will generate approximately 84 million plus of gross tax revenue. Do I hear a motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion on this? Hearing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Treasurer DeVarty?
Marty, yes.
Secretary Hatcher?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight-Morton? Yes.
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 Thank you. Tab G, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the proposed changes to the Board of Trustee Policy 2080 tuition payment plan policy as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Support.
Any questions or discussion here? Seeing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Treasurer DeVarty?
Artie, yes.
Secretary Hatcher?
Yes,
Yes.
Trustee Milliken?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Tab H, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the student tuition and fee structure for the 26-27 academic year as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Support.
Any questions or discussion here? Go ahead, Dave.
I just want to point out that in line with the recommendation that we received at our working session, not only are we holding credit hour rates in district for on-campus tuition without raising it, holding it once again at $99 a credit hour, we're also actually reducing tuition rates for in-county residents we're reducing their rates also to $99 a credit. This addresses an issue that I've had several students ask me about over the last couple years, and I'm really glad that we're making that adjustment. And I can tell people, as we're campaigning for our millage renewal that will be on the ballot, hopefully, we're not only holding our tuition rates stable, but we're actually reducing them for in-county tuition payers who attend Washtenaw Community College. So I really want to thank the administration for coming up with this, and I want to point that out as we approve this rate structure.
All right, any other questions here? All right, hearing none, Vanessa, call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Treasurer Navardi?
Vardy, yes.
Secretary Hatcher?
yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
Trustee Milliken?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Tab I, new business, the security camera cloud upgrade. Provost Blakey.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm going to discuss the security camera upgrade proposal. So in May 2023, the board approved a $3 million modernization for the security camera system. This project upgraded our analog cameras to digital cameras. It also expanded our campus coverage. We had many areas of campus that had no cameras. We consolidated 4 separate camera systems into one. And we also put in a dedicated security network. So all of the film from the cameras does not go on our regular network. It goes on a separate security camera network. Our current system limitations, we have on-premise storage dependency. So everything is stored in the servers on the third floor of Student Center. So you think when we had a tornado, I was like, yikes. That's limited scalability. It's high IT maintenance, and we have no full redundancy from the site that we have on the third floor of Student Center. So we'd like to propose a transition to a cloud-based storage, transition to a cloud-based storage system. It'll improve our system resilience. It'll enhance accessibility, and it will support long-term sustainability for the system. Our proposed solution is to use Verkada. They have a cloud-based video system. They have over 33,000 customers nationwide. They are currently used and recommended by 172 Michigan schools and colleges. They have secure, redundant cloud storage, and it would be centralized access across campus. So public safety, I wouldn't have to be just in dispatch and public safety. The chief could access something from his home if he needed to in an emergency situation. The operational benefits of this would be reduced reliance on our local servers, improved public safety efficiency in accessing information, faster incident response, easier footage retrieval if there is an incident on campus, and it would be scalable for future expansion if needed. We currently have 368 campus cameras that would be covered under this contract. The annual cost for the camera licensing would be $44,028, bringing with a 5-year total of $220,000, $142. We currently have our licensing contract for our cameras is currently $33,000, so we'd have a partial offset from that $33,000 licensing cost. Verkada is available through the One GPA Cooperative, which meets our competitive bidding requirements. It's already been bid through that cooperative. Our recommendation is that we would approve a 5-year Verkada contract at the total cost of a little over $220,000. It would support the next phase of modernization to improve reliability, enhance our data security, provide better incident response, and provide long-term scalability.
Any questions for Linda? Go ahead.
Microphone.
Long-term scalability, for long-term scalability, thank you. That means when our campus grows, I guess that's what that would mean. You're scaling up, you're adding different areas onto this system?
Scalability would, yes, if we needed to add, we wouldn't necessarily be adding buildings, but if we had certain areas where we currently don't have cameras and we would need to add some cameras, perhaps like, so we don't have total coverage across all of our parking lots if we decided we wanted some of that. So just if we had certain areas that I know we've gotten a question about the EV lab, and so sometimes there's just an extra camera here or there that just needs to be added.
We wouldn't be limited to that, would we? Limited to the number of additional cameras?
No.
That we're able to.
That's the additional scalability. So
Gotcha,
We'd
okay.
be able to add cameras as needed.
Gotcha, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Ruth.
Is the $220,000 part of the 3 million or in addition to the 3 million for the whole project?
So the $3 million was a capital project.
Right.
We have about $177,000 left of that project. My friend over here on the accountant side said I wasn't to talk about using that project, the capital fund, to pay for licensing that would move forward.
Okay.
So
This is in addition.
it's an addition, so that we haven't spent that 3 million because we still have a couple of cameras that we still have to replace, but this would be the licensing. So it's not fully, the 44,000 is not fully because the 33,000 licensing was not included in that $3 million project either.
Good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Dave.
So whenever I have, we talk about these things as security cameras, and they are, but they're also surveillance cameras because they surveil areas and activities that go in those areas. As we move the access to that camera data off campus to the cloud, what I worry about is security to that and who would have access. Does our campus security fully control
Yes.
access? I'm worried about possibility of hackers getting into cloud things. I know there are stars, famous stars and actors that have had their cloud photos hacked and taken down and misused. So anytime we're storing stuff in the cloud, I worry about those sorts of things. So those are the kinds of considerations. I mean, I like it except for that. And I'd like to be kind of reassured, basically, that we don't have to, that those fears are, we have protections against what might happen with that.
So any type of contract that we're using where we're using cloud activity, our Will Laney, who's our Chief Information Security Officer, is always reviewing all of their protocols, all of their statuses, and making sure that they're following all the guidelines that we need to have to make sure that that cloud storage is secure. And that only the people who need to have access and should have access will have access.
Before we vote for this, could we get an assurance from our IT people?
Yes.
That they feel comfortable with it? Just hear from them directly to the board,
Yes.
the way, how they would assure us that we don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, tab J, procurement of info blocks, DDI. CIO Tyler, hi.
Good evening, everyone. So I have the unfortunate circumstance of presenting something that's not at all glamorous and probably one of the most complex things that we have on our agenda, so I'll do my best. What you have before you is a request to invest in a suite of software to help us manage our network. Today, we do that through a combination of open source software. And if any of you are aware of open source software, it's not supported. It generally may not be updated in a timely fashion, which causes security concerns. And additionally, there's no one to call if something goes wrong. So those are very important things, especially given our growth as an organization from an IT infrastructure perspective. So my team is charged with a couple of things: making sure we're operationally effective and efficient, homogenization, so we have one single platform, and also making sure things are centralized. This open source software is none of those things. So I know this is complex, and as you can see by the subject, it's acronym soup up there. So I like to talk in analogies sometimes, so I'll try to explain as best I can what it is that we're trying to do. So I was blessed enough to be able to buy my first home some time ago. So I'll use this as an analogy. In the subdivision where I purchased my home, you know, there are different lots. In those subdivisions, each of those lots has a unique number, you know, signed by the developer. And that number then goes to the Register of Deeds to be officially recorded. So this IPAM solution, which stands for Internet Protocol Address Management, is similar to that. So we got to make sure we have enough lots available in our subdivisions to build homes. The homes are actually these devices, and I have 4 devices on me right now, which all need a unique lot. And moreover, and importantly, a unique address. So every device in this room is assigned a unique, what we call an IP address, kind of like a home address, which is managed by city government. So those unique addresses are to ensure that information that's transmitted from one system to another, like the UPS or USPS, United Parcel Service, as well, are routed to the right home, right? So they all have to be unique, and this software helps us to do that. DHCP is what assigns those IP addresses that each of these computers have to have. They have to be unique. And DNS, which stands for Domain Name Services, gives it a unique nomenclature, kind of like Google.com, right? But behind Google.com in the background is a unique number, and that's the IP address that I was talking about. So those 3 systems working in conjunction ensure that all of our systems have unique addressing so that we can keep track of them, and that communication can happen point to point with every system on the internet around the world. So what we're asking for us to invest in is software that will allow us to better manage those addresses and that infrastructure. Think of each building as a development and each floor in that building as a subdivision. So that's a lot of lots and homes that we need to manage. This device over here probably has, in this room, about 60 different devices connected to it at any given time. Students are bringing 5 or 6 devices with them, video game systems, smartwatches, cell phones, televisions that are smart. Each of those needs an address. So my team today has a manual effort to administer the distribution of those addresses and the management of those addresses. Similar to, I heard someone mention Washtenaw County. If I built a home there, If they're not online, I have to go downtown to the Register of Deeds and look up that lot number, right? Wayne County might have theirs online, which would make it easier. But every county in America has a different system and a way for you to access those lot numbers. This would centralize all the lot numbers on campus, so we'd have visibility and insight into how those lot numbers and addresses are managed, and help us to keep better track and control of those numbers. So what I'm asking of the board is recommended that we approve an investment, because this will save us time and effort, into the modernization of our software that we use to manage our network at a cost of approximately $48.3 thousand a year, for a grand total of $145,000 over a 3-year period. Are there any questions?
This software utilized by any other institutions or companies?
Absolutely, yeah. So Infoblox, and that's the company, by the way, the vendor. The DDI is the solution set, but this company is used by Fortune 500s. I've used it on at least 2 or 3 of my campuses I've had the privilege of working for.
Go ahead, Eileen.
I just have a comment for the board. I think it's important to know that Infoblox is owned by the same company, Vista Equity Partners, that owns Ellucian. And so this solution is being brought to us as, you know, as a sole solution, even though other solutions exist on the market. So it's just important for me to let you know that this solution is being offered by another company that is owned by the same parent as the company that owns Ellucian.
Are they related? I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. What's the difference between the two? This one or the one that you're talking about?
Well, there are 2 separate companies that are owned by the same parent company.
By the same parent, but which one are you saying that this one, that Inbox, is the one that is not as good as the other one?
Oh, I'm not making a judgment about whether or not the company is good or not good. I'm just saying that there is a relationship between the company that he works for and the solution that he is proposing.
So what we need to do is possibly look at the other company as a comparison?
Was this
No?
competitive bid?
Yeah, that's,
So-
I guess I'm trying to figure out what you're saying
Yeah,
here.
because
Yeah.
the competitive bid process is
Yeah.
supposed to alleviate that kind of a problem.
Right.
I'm not sure that the amount of the contract per year rises to the level of a competitive bid. I'm just saying that the solution is a pre-made solution, that there is a relationship between the company he works for and the solution he is suggesting. And I'm not sure that even though there are other solutions on the market, that they would be considered.
Oh, yeah,
May I address that?
yeah.
Sure.
First of all, I have no knowledge of that connection, just so you know. And my colleague who proposed this solution also has no former knowledge of that connection as well. This is just a solution we use in IT. We did do a comparative analysis of 2 other vendors. For the record, one was Blue Cat, the other was called Efficient IP. We rated those similar to if we went through an RFP process. This one came out on top for a lot of different reasons. This is part of the MyDeal, the Michigan Master Computing Contract. So we have pre-negotiated best pricing on this through CDW. So
they're a pre-approved vendor through that process, too?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
Effectively, it has been competitive.
yeah, okay,
Okay, good, thank you.
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I think so when we first got Banner, it was SCT, then it was SunGard, then it turned into Ellucian, and Ellucian has been bought by a private equity company, which I think is what that name that you said. I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe have bought all these other purchases, because they've bought, since I've been working with, now they have own colleague that used to be a competitor. They bought Anthology, which used to be a competitor. So they are, it's like swoop, it's a giant private equity company that's buying all kinds of software. So I'm not surprised that we wouldn't think of them as being owned by the same company, but it's a giant equity company that's buying all kinds of systems.
Any
I'm
other
not
questions?
surprised.
Dave?
I just want to say that I appreciate my fellow trustees raising that issue, and it would have been productive, I think, if you would have brought up front that you had compared it with these other products and that it's been vetted through the My Deal, which gives us the guarantee that there's effectively some sort of competitive process. Because when I first heard that, I said, wow, we've got to competitively bid this. But it would be good to have known that right from the top. But knowing that now, I feel more comfortable with it.
Thank you for the feedback.
Any other
It worked out, yeah. Because if it's the same company, it still works out, I guess.
Any other questions on this? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Tab K. Oh, boy, I don't know if I can say this. Purchase of the anatomage table? I can't say that
Yes,
word.
you got it.
Anatomage?
Yeah,
Oh, my
that's a lot.
gosh.
Oh, gosh. It- No, no,
Oh, it's,
no, I can't see it
Yeah,
now.
'cause we destroyed
And it's a,
yeah, you had it.
it starts with an A.
Just say the
It-
Vicky's there.
Where
She
is
can tell us.
Tracy? D. Schwab, say it for us. Anatomage. Anatomage. That sounds like a new one. Yes, the table.
The table.
You might remember, we've come to the board 2 other times. The foundation graciously supported this endeavor, and this one actually would be a 3rd table. And I believe one of the trustees had mentioned when we bought the one. Do we need to buy 2 or 3? Yeah. Well, we're back again. And this really came from the faculty in not just our nursing program, but our health science program. So if you remember, the initial table was purchased because of the cadaver shortage. So we no longer had the cadaver lab, so we got that one now. It's kind of like when brothers and sisters find out there's some cool technology and they start talking about it. The health science area really said this would be a good addition to our learning environment. So as part of our ADN to BSN grant with Eastern Michigan, funded by the state of Michigan, the proposal and request of the board is to purchase a 3rd table that would service our nursing and our health science area. Very similarly, like we're currently servicing our science programs. This is fully funded through the state of Michigan. So much like our support from our foundation, $106,000 not to exceed would be fully funded. And this would be a partnership with EMU. We own a piece of equipment. It's on our campus, but as part of the ADN to BSN program to try to get more bachelor's prepared nurses, this would allow for the students in that 3+1 program to be able to access technology within our simulation area. So our request of the board is to be able to support this fully funded externally.
All right, oh, boy, who was first? Okay, Ruth and then Eileen.
I was just going to say you need to get 2.
Oh, God.
It's going to come back.
Each, yes, potentially, but we always like the faculty to bring it up and say, hey, we want to do this before we get more than what they can cover and handle.
So if I recall the original discussion correctly, there is a long lead time in delivering the table. Is that still true?
I believe that we've shortened that lead time, so it's not as long. This is a state grant that we do have some time to be able to get it on campus and still be able to be within our grant timeframe, but always would, appreciate, being able to get it here sooner. But I will tell you, the lead time, I think, has been cut in half. I think it was like 12 weeks before. I think it's 4 to 6 weeks at this point.
So, and does this mean that we're out of the cadaver business altogether?
This particular one focuses all on our nursing and health science. But if we go to the science area, our last cadaver left our campus May of last year. I went back to the University of Michigan, and now we're fully utilizing either the animatage, I got it, animatage table, or we do have the plastinated bodies. That body should hopefully be here this year. We've been waiting about 18 months for that body, but it's coming.
Thank you.
Okay, Angie first, then Ruth.
For the BSN program, the 3+1 with Eastern, thank you, do those students come here to work on the tables, or this is just us and Eastern help provide the funding for the tables?
So the students in their capstone course towards the end would come and use the
here.
table. This funding, we were the grant recipient from the state of Michigan. It was a $2 million grant. We actually did so well with our spend and our performance that they gave us more money because other schools could not spend and weren't moving at the pace that we were. So this is actually because they gave us an additional $150,000, $200,000. And that's how we were able to get this piece of equipment. But it is our equipment. We're the recipient. Eastern Michigan is a partner.
Gotcha.
Okay, go ahead, Ruth.
No, I'm just saying two.
Oh, two, okay. Go ahead, Dave.
First of all, I want to say something about this in favor of it, and then ask you a question. So I was recently at a foundation event, and then it was followed by a tour of our automotive and our welding program facilities, which are just amazing. I would encourage every trustee here to go on that tour. And then we saw the health science animatage, what are they? They're not.
Tables.
That were just amazing, and they were explained to us, and it just gives us the capacity to really have top-notch training that is at the very top of what's available out there, and would be a reason for more nursing students to come here if we could handle it. Now, each of the animatage tables, and I'm totally in favor of it, it's very positive opportunities for our students to learn. Each of the animatage tables that we had on that tour is in a room that's fully outfitted as a hospital room in a lot of ways, with other equipment and things that they could hook up. And I believe there was cost to those rooms as well. Now, is that a cost that's going to be on top of this $106,000? So there would be additional costs. If there is, I would be in favor of it because this stuff is so impressive. But I'm just wondering if there would be additional costs.
No, these are plug and play. So literally you plug it into a regular, jack in the wall and it goes. What you saw were those rooms that have a lot of other stuff that this complements that. But it's literally plug and play. It's plug and play. And I would say that, well, Trustee Hatcher wants another one. There is probably another one coming because RAD now wants one. And that's primarily because while they are portable and you can move them around, we don't really want to do that because you could break it. But also it should be co-located in the area where it's used the most. I know we do move one around from building to building, but we're trying to avoid that going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. All right, next is tab L, the NCLEX Prep Digital Learning Software for our nursing program.
I'm here again.
Don't move.
So what's before the board is a request for approval for our NCLEX Prep digital software. This package has been in place for a number of years, but now, because of its cost, as well as its use by our nursing program exclusively, it's risen to the level to require board approval. I will let you know that NCLEX, of course, is the test that all nurses take across the country. This is measured and monitored very closely. A number of years ago, going back to 2020, 2021, we had a significant decline in our NCLEX scores. They dropped down to around 75%, meaning that 25% of our nursing students that went through our whole program did not pass on the first try. Any school, whether it's a 2-year, 4-year, monitors this very closely. Dean Lambert and her team. And because we had dropped to the level of mid-70s, we were required with the State of Michigan Board of Nursing to provide an action plan, because they also don't want to see that 25% of students in programs are not passing. Part of that action plan included ATI, which is a platform that is used to be able to prepare students throughout the entire program. So starting with the first course, going to the final course, and prior to them actually taking the NCLEX test. I will tell you there are 3 really providers of this type of training on the market. ATI always rises to the top and is seen as the best. And because we are the best community college, we sought to use this software. I will tell you that from the point of starting this, which was 2021 until now, and you have shifts because you have 2 periods throughout the year that you're monitored, we have an average of nearly 90% passage now. And in some cases, we've had a year ago, our summer term, 100%. And that swings, right? Because, it depends on, our fall or our winter start of cohort of students. So this is a software package that is available to all of our nursing students. It is mandatory use. They use it throughout their program. They're able to not just use it within their courses, but to do practice kind of simulations outside of the course. And out of all of the community colleges in Michigan that have nursing programs, nearly everyone is using some type of preparation software. ATI is usually the number one across the state. So our request is that the board would approve this, very similar to if you were in graphic design and you were using Adobe Illustrator. It's a software that's needed to be successful as you go through the program. It has many benefits. Our faculty have been trained and have fully embedded this. So some might ask the question, okay, you mentioned you have 3 options. We know ATI is the best, but what happens if it was Tucker's training software that got created, right? It would take a significant investment of time for the faculty to then embed a new software that's really kind of standard across our nursing programs. So our request of the board is to approve a contract with ATI in the amount of $608,751. This is a multi-year agreement. It locks that price in so that we could basically not have large price swings. I'm open to any questions that the board might
Is
have.
NCLEX specific, this software is specifically required for the accreditation?
This software is specifically required for our action plan that we gave the State Board of Nursing.
Okay.
That also with accreditation, we list that we use this software.
Okay.
So more of a mandatory piece for the state and more of we told our accreditors this is what we use to prepare students.
Go ahead, Ruth.
What does multi-year mean?
It would be a 3-year agreement.
Okay, so why didn't you say a 3-year agreement?
It's
Never
per
mind.
year.
I mean, shouldn't it say 3 years?
It should say 3 years. That is my mistake.
Okay.
So what happens after 3 years? We have to go through this again?
Yes, we
like any
will
other
come back to
software
the
we
board
have.
for renewal.
Expensive.
Barring that it comes to this level where it will require board approval. And I believe that with the size of our nursing program, over 200 students, that it probably would rise to that level.
The new software version anyway.
Yep, and there are constant updates, so this software has been continuously improved and updated.
Dave first and then Diane.
So we've been using this to address the state's identified shortcomings in our pass rates.
Yes.
So we've been using it for a few years, and it's been successful.
Yes.
So we're renewing a contract. Is it 600,000 per year, or is that for total for 3 years? So it's more like 202,000 per year.
600,000.
It says,
For total for
it
3
doesn't say
years.
anything about the 3 years.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if the 600,000 is per year, or if it's for the total of 3
Total for
years.
the 3 years.
Okay.
Diana and then Eileen.
Excuse me. Eileen, go ahead.
All right, go Eileen.
Just a simple, is it possible to modify the action item for next time to just include the 3-year term?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Already on the radar.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, the question is, seeing how we have used it, right? And we're just renewing this? Is that what we're doing? Or just updating it?
The contract would expire June, so we are asking for a renewal. However, the new contract that would start July 1 is at this level, which is now risen to the level to get board approval.
And so because of the next level, you're thinking that the students will be more successful with the new programming? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I think they're going to continue to be successful to the level they've been, and we hope that they will increase. This is more that the price of it has
The price,
increased.
okay.
Any other questions?
All right. Right now, it's nice.
Is it
I
correct
wanna
to say
get
that
them.
we're not out from under the action plan?
Say that again?
It's now been, it was 2021, so that's 5 years. I'm going to defer actually to Dean Lambert. I'm not sure if that action plan is still in place or if we superseded that.
So we filed the action plan in response to the 2020 and 2021 rates. And then in 2022, we provided an update to the action plan. And so I'm not sure if that has an expiration date. I would check.
We can verify. We can verify that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The question was, is the program still operating under the action plan, or has the action plan been expired or whatever?
We'll find out. And I'll make that adjustment. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
One last question.
Okay, go ahead.
How much has the cost gone up from the last contract? I'm just curious. I'm in favor of this because I think we need it for the nursing program.
Double.
But it's doubled?
Double. And so the vendor had no cost increases for a number of years. And now the vendor, and it's not just us, it's everybody's contract is expired, not just in Michigan, but across the country, is aligning the pricing with today's pricing versus what it was. So there was no real price increases in years.
Well, I'm thinking, the Tigers just signed Kevin McGonigal for what, 15 years? So I'm looking at this thing where their price doubles after 3 years, or however many years we've had it. And I'm thinking, is there any, I defer to the administration on this, would there be any advantage to negotiating a longer contract? If we decide it's beneficial to our program going forward beyond 3 years, maybe it behooves us to sign a longer-term contract, kind of like the Tigers did with their new rookie.
I tried to keep software at 3 years. I I try my best to do that because I'm afraid of changes when it comes to software.
Don't
I
they-
can get nervous with
they update
3
it, though,
years.
don't
Well, I don't know, but you know, something always comes out on the market that's better. So I just always worry about that whenever I can. But normally, if it was something else, probably I would, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, tab M. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees appoint its negotiations team as submitted to negotiate the Washtenaw Community College Education Association part-time adjunct teaching faculty affiliated with the Michigan Education Association, National Education Association. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion or questions on this? Did you want to add anything for us here?
No, I just wanted to add that the members of this team are all veterans of the last negotiation with the full-time faculty, and we had an excellent relationship with the union's negotiating team, and I look forward to this group completing this contract successfully as well.
No questions? Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Treasurer DeVarty?
DeVarty, yes.
Secretary Hatch? Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
Trustee Milliken?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Thank you. Tab N, approval of the 25-26 candidates for graduation. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the candidates for graduation as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
Move. Support.
Okay, now here's the discussion part. Go ahead, ask your questions.
How many more graduating
Guys,
this year?
beat me to it.
Yes. Based on all that fantastic information that we heard earlier, our grads are up 293, up 13%. We have 2,507 grads at this point. We have 1,993 of them getting certificates, which is up, certificates are up 20%, and our degrees at 1,491, our degrees are up 96 or 7%. So we have increases in both our students, number of certificates, and numbers of degrees.
Yay, I'm so happy.
Any other questions for Ms. Blakey? Did we get all?
She has one.
Oh, go ahead, Eileen.
It's not a question, it's just a comment. In speaking with the WTMC staff today, I just wanted to report to the board that among those graduates, 126 are WTMC students.
I was going to ask that.
Wow, that's great. All right, if there's no other questions, go ahead.
So do we know if all of them will be walking this time? Because you know some students don't like to walk.
No, they won't.
I can guarantee that they all will not be walking.
No. Oh, my gosh. No, we don't get that many.
It's a lot of hands.
That would be a lot. They're all welcome, but they don't all come.
I got a
ahead.
question. Going through the list, I don't know why I do that. I noticed that there's quite a few students, not a lot, but just a few students have multiple degrees. Wow, so that, how could they do that? I mean, they're in what, aren't they in separate programs like automotive and?
Right, but if they're completing like the Michigan Transfer Agreement, which is a 30-credit certificate, they will get recognized for that as well as their associate degree.
Okay, that explains it then, because it kind of threw me off.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis? Yes. Treasurer DeVarty?
DeVarty, yes.
Secretary Hatcher?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
Trustee Milliken?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Thank you. Tab O. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees award the honorary associate degree in community service to Mr. Bhushan Kulkarni for his extraordinary support of Washtenaw Community College and its students, and for leading a life of service that has benefited our entire community. Do I hear a motion? Okay. Any questions or discussions on this? No?
I think it's a great selection for this year, and every time I'm here, he's here. So I think this is a good selection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Vanessa, call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Treasurer DeVarty?
DeVarty, yes.
Secretary Hatcher?
Yes?
Trustee McKnight Morton? Yes. Trustee Milliken?
Absolutely.
Trustee Beck?
Yes.
Thank you. Tab P. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees establish and hold a special meeting on Thursday, May 21st, 2026, 6 PM in room 150 in the ML building at Washtenaw Community College. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Support.
Any questions on this? This is a special meeting? Yeah, go ahead.
What's the meeting for?
Is it?
Special meeting.
Special days.
Is it
Special.
the budget goals? Yeah.
Goals? Okay. So it's kind of a working session?
It's a working session.
Yes, it's a working session.
Okay.
Vanessa, call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis? Treasurer DeVarty?
DeVarty, yes.
Secretary Hatcher?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
Trustee Milliken?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Thank you. Tab Q. The recommendation is the Board of Trustees approve the submission of renewal and restoration millage proposal for the August 4th, 2026 primary election as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Any questions on this? Seeing none, Vanessa, call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis?
Yes.
Treasurer DeVarty?
DeVarty, yes.
Secretary Hatcher?
Yes?
Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
Trustee Milliken?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. All right, we are then ready to move into our public hearing. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the monthly meeting and open the public hearing on the 26-27 budget?
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. The monthly meeting is adjourned. The public hearing is now open, and the board will now hear comments. Let's see, do we have any comments for this portion? No. Okay.
You have a comment?
Oh, who had a comment? Oh. Yeah, come on up, Jeremy.
Jeremy Haley again. If you're going to ask us to vote for a millage, you're going to have to give the voters something too. Can't always be asking and never give something back. So what I'm asking is that you all start looking into the budgets of the departments and see if you can cut 1% of the budget. That can go back into the general fund, maybe 2%. In order to ask for the millage, you have to give the voters something. And so far, the voters have been giving and giving and giving. And some of us are at the point of a breaking point of no more millages, no more taxes, whatever you throw on there, we'll vote no. And if you want people to vote yes, you got to give the voters something. I'm just asking, as trustees, look to the department heads, the deans, and go, look, what can you possibly cut out of your budgets that you absolutely don't need? And it goes back into the Balanced Budget Act, which means the revenue in equals the expenditures out. There's fraud in there. There's stuff that can be cut. With that in play, it never works out for the voters. It always goes up. It's a stepladder, escalator that keeps going up and never goes down. I'm just asking that you ask the department heads, the deans, what can you be in your budget? I know they're all cringing. What can they do to help, if they're going to ask for the money again, what can they do to help save some of it? That's all I'm asking for the voters. It's an easy question. If you're going to ask for it, what can you do to help save some of it? That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Haley. Thank you. Okay, VP Barnes, we are on tab R for the review of the proposal. Thank you.
Okay. So on our agenda this evening, we'll go through some of the budget highlights. So some of this will be familiar from from our retreat back in March. But there were, I would call what I would call material changes versus what we talked about in March. And I'll go over those as we get to them on the slides. But we'll go over our revenue outlook, what are our key assumptions, what's our expense outlook, our planned transfers and capital investments, our statement of activities, financial position, and then the requested board action. So starting off, we are presenting a balanced budget for FY27. This budget also incorporates the new tuition strategy that was approved earlier this evening. In other words, the reduced in-district online tuition to $99 per credit hour, as well as the new pricing structure for non-in-district students. This budget also incorporates new strategic investments, such as investments related to enrollment. I'll give some examples. We're investing in the web refresh, for example. That partially is intended to help enrollment. We're investing in our high-demand programs. We've put more money into wages for programs that get high demand, such as life sciences. We've got additional faculty in chemistry, in nursing, for example. For student and faculty support, we're hiring an additional proctor in the testing center, as well as a proctoring supervisor. And instructional equipment, we're planning to purchase equipment in welding, in nursing, and advanced transportation. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the campus master plan, which you heard about also earlier this evening, as well as an AI initiative. And financial strength, we have a strong balance sheet. Again, it's important for us to be good stewards financially of this college. And we think this proposal represents that. So I'm going to, the next three charts are designed to just kind of walk you from where we were last year in last year's budget to where we are this year in this year's budget. So just walking from the left side to the right side, in terms of revenue, last year we had budgeted to have $146 million of revenue. And this coming year, we're expecting to have 152.8. So how do we get there? As you can imagine, property taxes are our biggest contributor to our revenues. And it's an important pillar of stability for the college, too. As you heard earlier this evening, we've seen increasing pressure on our tuition recently. So it's very important that we have this stability in terms of the property tax revenue. So our goal as a college is always, we have these short-term fluctuations in different revenue streams, but our overarching goal is long-term stability and good stewardship. So that's what we're providing. In terms of so you see the property tax is increasing there. It is higher than we were expecting. That's the first material change versus what you saw at the retreat. There was a lot more a new development in the county. So that new development in the county, we can predict the revenue that's related to existing properties. We cannot predict the revenue that's related to new properties. So that was an important change. Investment income is pretty similar, or is the same. There was a reminder that incremental $1 million, we're assuming a 3% interest rate, which I think is pretty conservative. If you look at the consensus federal funds rate for the end of next year, it's between 3.3 and 3.6%. So we're being a little bit conservative, but not knowing what could happen. Tuition and fees. So this is another area that has changed. So as I mentioned in the earlier presentation, we've seen a little bit more stress than we were expecting in both the winter semester and in particular the summer semester. So between the retreat last month and this month, we went back and we took a look at the credit hours that we were assuming, and we brought those down. Again, I mentioned that summer semester is turning out to be about 6% below where summer was last year. And even though winter is slightly better than budget, it's still weaker than our real expectations were. So we've brought that down a bit. So we ended up bringing down our expected enrollment/credit hours by $700,000 versus what you saw in March. Now, the reason that tuition and fees is a positive number there, you can see I've split it into two parts. That's the little blue box that's under tuition and fees. So the enrollment/credit hour decline, again, this is versus last year's revenue, is $500,000 lower. Now, where that's being compensated is the tuition increase for non-in-district students that's what's compensating that credit hour loss. Continuing along, trade partnerships, we are seeing additional revenues we're expecting from most of our trade partners, including the UA, the sprinkler fitters, the IBEW, so kind of across the board there. State aid, this is another material change versus March. So we had expected flat. We had expected state aid to be flat. That's what we communicated in March. What we found out since then is that the State House, the Senate, and Governor are all proposing that our one-time increase was just that, one time last year. Now, we had interpreted our performance funding to be permanent, and that's what we assumed in March. But they're calling even the performance funding that we received one time. So we went back and we reduced that also by almost $700,000. Now, the reason the variance there is 300 is because last year we beat our budget a little bit, so it's the net number. But again, you can see that state aid is now, we're expecting it to be less than it was in the previous year. So again, very important that we have that ballast in the property tax. And then there's some other miscellaneous items, which is that $0.4 million at the end. So, but I will say just these diversified revenue streams coming from different areas, they do help us offset these things like enrollment declines or credit hour declines. Also, I wanted to talk about our expenses. So the next two charts represent two different views of the expenses. One is just by expense category, which is this chart, and the next chart is by division. So the personnel, so again, it's the same idea. Our expenses last year, 146.2 was our budget, and we're walking them to the 152.8 this year. So personnel, of course, includes the wage increases, contractual with our unions, non-contractual with non-union personnel. It also includes new positions, such as I mentioned, the new faculty positions, the increased wages for the programs that are doing particularly well, because we have to hire more part-time instructors to run more sessions for those programs. In terms of non-personnel, this is the last important material change versus what you saw in March. So here, we've added $1 million for AI initiatives. So what we're looking at, and we've yet to identify the specifics, but you saw our mission and our vision earlier. So we're going to make sure that we're always aligned with those 8 priorities, as well as our mission, our vision. But in general terms, we'll be looking at things that, for example, enhance the learning of our students, may streamline our administration, making sure our administration is very efficient, or strengthen our student support, or strengthen our enrollment. So we'll be looking at those things, but we wanted to make sure that, that we set aside that capital for things that are important, because we all know we're living in a new world, and we want to make sure that our students come out of WCC prepared for that new world. In addition to that $1 million of AI, that non-personnel also includes things such as the web refresh, such as the campus master plan, such as instructional supplies, et cetera. Planned capital and maintenance transfers. So we are moving, and this is consistent with what we presented in March, we're planning to move an additional $1 million versus what we'd normally do to planned maintenance. And that's because we have several, let's call them larger than normal projects. You know, some that I mentioned last time is the loop that goes around the campus, for example. That's a big project. That's $850,000 in itself. We also have the SC, the Student Center Generator Replacement. We have the SC elevator upgrade, and we have the LA roof replacement. So those are just 4 big items in addition to the normal planned maintenance that we have. Utilities, we talked about quite a bit in March, so I won't belabor it, but we don't have any material changes in usage. We made some minor changes in our usage assumptions. But again, this is primarily electric. As you'll recall, the rate increase was about 2.8%, but when you add in the cost recovery that we talked about, that was an additional 12.2%. So it's a pretty high increase for electricity. DTE advised us that gas would be going up by between 3 and 5%, so we assumed the high end of that. We assumed 5%. Water up 6% and sewer up 3%. So all of those assumptions are baked in to that utilities line. And again, there's some other transfers there. One that I'll highlight is we generally propose transferring money to the Green Fund. We're actually not going to be proposing that for FY27. That's an area where we're cutting. We have made substantial investments in our infrastructure in terms of our EV charging stations, for example. We've also purchased EV equipment, EV vehicles, for example, for our public safety, for our facilities team, including things like lawnmowers. But we are reaching a point where the right equipment is becoming less available. So it's not that we're doing away with the Green Fund, we're just slowing it down until the market can catch up, because the market, I'm sure you've all seen in the news, has taken a bit of a pause, and a lot of the automotive companies in particular are taking a look at precisely where they're going to be investing in EVs. So we have to make sure that the equipment matches our needs. So again, I mentioned I was going to show you 2 different views. These are the same expenses, but just looking at it by division. So you can see how we're allocating our funds by division. So in terms of instructional support, well, first of all, let me comment that, again, wages are spread across all divisions, right? So the wage increases in terms of our contractual agreements and so forth, that's baked into each division. But instructional support, again, we have the new faculty, we have the additional police academy, we have the incremental wages in our high demand classes, and we have some investment for online growth. In terms of information technology, that $1.6 million, that includes the $1 million that I mentioned for AI initiatives is in that. It also includes the web refresh. So pretty much that whole thing is those 2 items. Physical plant operations, that includes the utilities, that includes the campus master plan, wage increases, et cetera. Transfers, this is the capital project. So we are proposing to transfer an additional $500,000 next year to help fund future capital projects, and I'll present those on a later slide, but they're consistent with what you saw back in March. In terms of student services, this is mostly labor-related wages, but also people such as the new proctor for the testing center, the new proctoring supervisor, et cetera. Trade partners, so we do have additional revenues from trade partners. That carries with it some additional expenses, so you see that there. And then there's some other minor items that round us out to the 152.8. But you can see here that we are prioritizing our instruction, we're prioritizing our campus infrastructure, and we're prioritizing technology. We want to support our students. We want to support the learning. Last month, I did a bit of an overview of our different funds. And so here, this is an overview of what we're transferring or what we're proposing to transfer to the different funds. So in total, it's about $14 million. Our Classroom Enhancement Fund, we're proposing that we transfer $2 million. These are for things such as we're continuing to look at our labs, our classrooms, so that would fund those renovations. Our technology infrastructure, again, this is the backbone of our IT system, things such as cabling, switches, and that sort of thing. More capital type investments. Capital projects, I mentioned this is for future capital projects, which I'll talk about. Planned maintenance at $4.5 million. This again is the $1 million higher than it was for FY26. Unscheduled maintenance at $200,000. That's a little less actually than last year, but there's some leftover money in the fund from this year, so we didn't deem it necessary to transfer too much to the unscheduled maintenance. There's some other transfers, such as things related to debt payment, and there's also a transfer in from the Health and Fitness Center, which they're already meeting, or they're already sending enough over to pay the debt. Next year, I'm expecting that they're going to send more than enough to pay the debt and have some left over. And by the way, next year, again, as a reminder, is the last year on our debt payment. We definitely should. So here are our multi-year capital projects. In terms of instructional spaces, we're still hoping that we get the Center for Success and Innovation. That's certainly still out there and it's still pending. So we're hoping we get that. Now that $27.1 million, you can also look straight across from it. There's the Student Center HVAC, which was also part of that same project. Those two numbers don't include the $12.2 million that the state would provide. So you would have to subtract 12.2 from that total. We're also looking at potentially relocating the testing center. We're looking at renovating the Towsley Auditorium here in the ML building. We're looking at fitness center upgrades now that the bond is paid off. There are some areas we'd like to invest in. There's the steam room and the locker rooms and so forth that at some point will need to be renovated. In the facilities and master planning category, I already mentioned the Student Center HVAC. We've got the front entrance renovation, the Workforce Solutions and Entrepreneurship Center. That's the current family education building that would potentially be repurposed. The Morris Lawrence kitchen expansion. I think I mentioned before, but I'll reiterate, the kitchen handles some very large events, including the summer events with our trade partners, and the kitchen really is insufficient to handle it. So we're looking at potentially looking at a remodel there. A storage facility, as well as just general master plan initiatives and contingency, which those are to be determined, but we know that there will be some. So again, looking at our statement of activities, our budget is balanced. You can see that the revenues on the left-hand side are equivalent to the expenditures and transfers. And we always try to make sure that this is balanced. We do actually go to the departments and we do hold the line or cut many expenses, but we do deploy or increase expenses where we think that there's opportunities. So there are no blanket increases. No department gets any blanket increase. We go department by department and we make sure that we're not increasing. In fact, we take away money that is not being used. But we deploy money that we know can be used wisely. So that's how we make sure that this budget is balanced. Our financial position, how's our liquidity, our reserves? So as I mentioned last month, we have approximately 6 months of liquidity, which I think is important. You know, there's inflation, there's policy concerns, both at a state level, federal level, local level, and it's good. I mentioned that the National Association of College and University Business Officers recommends at least 5 months, and that Moody's Investments recommends 6 months. So you can see that we're aligned with what we should have. Assets and capital, flat to modest increase in capital assets. You know, even though we're proposing these investments in additional assets, they're probably at least a year out. So not a lot of movement in the coming year. Some movement, yes, but probably a little bit about a year out. In terms of our long-term obligations, our long-term debt will be paid off in FY27, and our capital lease obligations will be done in FY28. So over the next couple of years, we should have effectively no debt, if you will. Pension and OPEB liabilities, on the other hand, are volatile. This is something that is difficult for us to predict. It goes up and down with numbers of employees, not just here, but across the state. It goes up and down with the markets. But we have to be prepared for any eventuality in terms of pension and OPEB liabilities. And our net position, of course, is improving, driven by a positive general fund contribution this year. Our composite financial index, again, this is on a positive trajectory. And I would just like to highlight the purpose of this, and HLC had worked with NACUBO a few years ago to set this up. And effectively, this is measuring whether the college has sufficient resources to fulfill its mission. That's really the objective of this metric. There's there's 4 different financial metrics that go into it, but that's really what it's trying to measure. And you can see here that WCC wants to be able to fulfill its mission now and into the future. Again, we're trying to provide stability, not 1 year up, 1 year down, 1 year up, 1 year down. So what are we asking? Before I get to the ask, I'm just going to reiterate that our budget is balanced, supported by property taxes and other revenues that are offsetting our ongoing enrollment pressures, or the upcoming enrollment pressures. And I'll just remind you, I didn't say the word enrollment cliff in the presentation, but the enrollment cliff does start supposedly this fall, which could be at least one contributing factor as to why we're seeing summer weakness. I don't know that for sure, but that could be a contributing factor. Now, we are financially well positioned, as I just mentioned. We do have 6 months of liquidity. That does give us some flexibility that perhaps some other educational institutions don't have. But that still means we have to be prudent with the funds we have. Our expense for growth is manageable. You know, it reflects staffing needs, it reflects program demands, but it also reflects external pressures such as utility costs, for example. But again, despite these demographic headwinds and capital needs, we're trying to maintain affordability. You know, we maintained again at $99. We reduced online tuition to $99. But we're maintaining fiscal discipline and long-term stewardship. So we're recommending that you approve our revenue and our expenditures as submitted. That's what I have.
Dave?
I just want to speak to, we had a public response about our responsibilities as good stewards of the budget. I think we live up to that expectation, and on behalf of, I'm a taxpayer in the community, and I understand the concerns of taxpayers in the community. I just want to speak a minute about our upcoming millage renewal, and I want to emphasize it's a renewal. We face, if you look at our expense side increase for this coming year, it's a 5% expense side increase. We At the same time, property taxes are capped by the Headley Amendment from the 1980s of going up only at the rate of inflation. So county taxpayers have the benefit really of not having to experience the full effects of inflation as the cost of paying for their property taxes will continue to increase, but at a capped rate of no more than the rate of inflation. At the same time, our expenses are going up at more than the rate of inflation. So we have to maintain the fiscal discipline to, out of respect for our taxpayers. At the same time, we look at our increased, and one of the benefits we have is all the development that's going on in the community and in the county. So we have increased tax base that's not sitting on the people that are already paying taxes, but it's the new development that is contributing substantially to the growth in our increased property tax revenue. What that allows us to do, and this is where something that I always keep at the top of my mind, what are we doing here to benefit our residents who fund this community college, our taxpayers, the tax base, all the people out there that live in the county? We do numerous things. Number one, we're delivering the lowest possible tuition rate to make a higher education economically accessible to people throughout the county. And for those in the most economically distressed situations, we provide significant financial aid, need-based financial aid, to further facilitate everybody in the county having access to higher education. And not just higher education that could lead to a four-year university, but educational opportunities in trades and healthcare fields and things that can launch people into careers that pay substantially good salaries. Those are things we offer to our residents in the county, our taxpayers. In addition to that, we provide economic impetus to the county with partnerships with employers. We provide economic impetus to the county by bringing in trade partners that swarm our campus in the summer and bring all sorts of economic benefit to the county and to the community. We are providing constantly, we're always looking at what can we do for our community and for the taxpayers in the community. I'm proud to say that we have held the rates on our tuition for several years now. I don't know if it's 5 years or however long. This year, we're reducing the rate for online tuition for in-county residents. In-county residents who are helping to keep maintain our fiscal sustainability here on this campus are receiving significant benefits. And I'm proud to be part of the board that's making that happen. I just want to speak to that, and I'll happily support this budget, which I think is a very responsible budget. At the same time, it's delivering tremendous benefits to our county taxpayers.
Well done.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Ruth.
Well, I'd like to thank Terry and his office for giving us the information we need to make this decision. I'm not particularly fond of budgets, but I've learned a great deal from your presentations, and I appreciate the work that you've done, and I appreciate David's attention to your department as well. So thank you very much, Terry, and I will certainly support this budget.
Thank you.
Echo what's already said by my colleagues. I think that at this point in time, and I really appreciate Terry in looking at the times that we're in now. We've been in times before, but the times that we're in is very unstable. And because the instability that we're in, we have to still look forward. and especially for our students, so that they don't feel that maybe I shouldn't come because of what's going on here. They know that they can come up with some types of maybe $200 to take 2 classes or whatever it be. But at least they know that they have support from our foundation, from the president, from the board, of our scholarships that is available for them. And also, especially the homeless students. I'm going to stick on that because there's so many students that come that don't know where their next meal is at, or where their babysitters, or where they're going to get gas or fix their cars. But they know that they can come here and talk to a counselor or somebody to guide them and show them where they can go to get this, their needs met. And this school has been a community needs met school. We have done a lot with the budget, and you have done a wonderful job since you've been here, Gary. And I really appreciate it. You know, I've been here for a while, so this is not just the first time, but I really like how you've been, since you've been here, how you and your staff have done a wonderful job in tweaking the budgets and looking at every nook and cranny of how we can save money. And you have done that from the beginning, and I appreciate that. And now that our colleague, Trustee DeVarty, is working with you, and he really gives his perspective on it too, which helps us. And I've always said I'm not a numbers person, but it really helps me. It makes it more clarified for me. And this is just my comment, but I feel so comfortable. I feel very good because I talk just like the rest of us, the people who voted for me. You know, hey, how's your school doing? So I feel so proud when I can say what we're doing, you know? And this is great. It makes me feel good. I feel proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee McKnight Morton. And I would thank you for recognizing my team, too. My team, they're really the force behind this. Sinmay Dowell and Ben Hunholz, who's here tonight, they do a great job in helping me prepare and working with all the divisions to make sure that the budget is well looked through.
Yes, thank you.
Next up is tab S, the resolution to approve the tax levy rate for general operations. VP Barnes, did you want to say anything about this to us? It is what it is?
This is simply the board's approval to levy the maximum millage rate for the upcoming tax year.
So these tab R and S are together, do they have to be approved together?
So,
Or do you need these like done tonight?
no.
I'm trying to understand your timeline on these two.
No, these are just for discussion, both of
Okay.
them. They need to be,
Okay.
they should be approved in May, by May.
Okay, then we're still on schedule, okay.
Yeah.
All right, did anybody have any questions on the tax rate one? Okay, thank you. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, public hearing is adjourned.